It's been over 2 years now since we did our first live stream, and that was on the BITURBO power tool range.
That's right, and since then, the BITURBO range has really expanded. So Dan and I thought it would be a great opportunity to bring you fully up to date with the complete range.
We're going to cover our entire range of compound miter saws on the BITURBO platform, from our entry-level 8-inch machine all the way up to our largest 12-inch 2,000-watt corded equivalent glide arm saw.
Included our corded equivalent range of SDS rotary hammers, SDS Plus and SDS Max, giving you a maximum drilling diameter of 45 millimeters and also 12.5 joules of pneumatic energy.
Our impact wrench range are capable of delivering up to 1,600 Newton meters of tightening force and 2,200 meters of breakaway torque.
Including our comprehensive range of 18-volt circular saws with left and right blade bias, as well as guide rail compatible models.
And many others, including selected items from our professional lawn and garden range. And who can forget the GSB 18V-150C, our most powerful combi to date.
We'll have a look inside our BITURBO machines when used in conjunction with the Procore 18V batteries that gives you the power to do away with your corded collection of power tools without a loss of performance or power.
In addition, we're going to show you the benefits of upgrading from the standard 18-volt professional power tool to a BITURBO one.
We'll also take the opportunity to talk about connectivity as well as protection features.
And it's no point having the best-in-class machine without having the best accessories. So we're going to cover some selected items from our expert professional accessory range.
Hi guys, don't forget, as this is a live stream, like usual, if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat below and I'll throw them at Chris and Dan throughout so you can have your say and learn all about BITURBO.
So, as you can see, we've got a lot to talk about. So let's get this live stream started.
Hello and welcome to Bosch Professional Live UK. I'm Chris.
And I'm Danny.
So welcome back. Yes, we had a few technical difficulties there.
Could say that.
Yeah, of course, but hopefully it's all working fine. Feel free in the chat to let us know if it's streaming good. Can you hear us? Can you see us? Everyone good?
Yep.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that intro. We literally sweated
Yes.
our personal parts off.
Yes, I can safely say that, yeah.
I say that's actually a little sneak peek of our new site. So we're actually moving our headquarters to a new building, and we thought it was a perfect opportunity to use that as an excellent backdrop.
Yeah.
In fact,
Perfect's a strong word. No ventilation, closed windows.
Essentially a greenhouse.
A greenhouse, basically, yeah.
Exactly.
And we did choose a particularly warm day to film it, so yeah.
Yeah, but we thought that if we wanted to go out big with our BITURBO brushless machines, I thought we'll go and make the special really good.
Yeah.
So, Danny, obviously everyone knows we're going to be talking about the BITURBO range, but you know, why? What are we doing?
Well, basically, they're the flagship products in our range. So we're talking about the machines that really do truly replace corded products. Yeah, so massive amount of power out of a normal handheld power tool.
That's right, yes. So obviously if you saw the intro, the main reason we're doing this is because when we first did the BITURBO special, that was quite a few years ago now, we covered whatever was in the range at that time. And obviously we've grown that BITURBO range quite a lot since then. We obviously had our previous special, which was on the, well not previous, prior to the 12 volt, we had an 18 volt special.
Yep.
And we actually covered a lot of our BITURBO machines amongst that. But we thought we really wanted to focus just on BITURBO, let you guys in the chat have your way, so to speak. Ask us any questions you want on the BITURBO range. We'll entertain some questions outside of BITURBO, but let's try and keep it focused on the biggest, baddest machines. We might even be able to answer some questions about some BITURBO machines coming in the future. Might be able to hint a little bit.
Maybe.
And maybe, stay tuned, maybe in this live stream itself, we might be giving away a few machines that haven't launched yet, but maybe you might already know. I'm sure someone in the chat has already leaked what potentially we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to think actually that when we did the live stream over 2 years ago, we had what, 4 or 5 products for the BITURBO range, I think it was.
Well, you didn't have, it definitely wasn't as wide as it was now.
It certainly
Maybe
isn't,
10
no.
max.
Yeah.
10 max perhaps. We had a relatively good representation across different product segments, but you'll see as we go through today, we've got plenty more being added and plenty more to come.
That's it.
That's right. So I think what we should start off with, Dan, is a brief explanation on what BITURBO means. Okay, it's an unusual word. Okay, first everyone goes, what does it stand for? Well, Dan and I have got 2 different interpretations on what it stands for.
Yeah.
I quite like the idea that it's, well, the word turbo is because it's like turbocharged, which means you can get more out of something. Okay, it's an 18 volt system, but we're turbocharging it. And the bi means there's 2 parts that make that turbocharge happen. The first thing, obviously, part of it is going to be the motor itself. Okay, here's a great example of a bi-turbo brushless motor. Okay, if I pop that on the table, you see just how significant that is. We'll show you exactly which machine this comes out of later on. If I put it in front of it, what we've got here is what's more, you know, the typical normal brushless motor, and you can see the components completely different sizes.
Yeah, if you look on the smaller one here, which this is the motor that you'd find in most of our smaller combis, our system tools, you'd find around there, you can see, I don't know whether you can see it close up, there's four magnets set into a steel core.
That's right. When you go to the bi-turbo brushless, this is the neodymium magnet, and it is a solid core magnet, so it is extremely powerful.
Yeah, of course, the stronger the magnet, the stronger the magnetic field, means more power.
That's right, and you can see here, look at the difference.
Force. Yeah.
Look at the difference in the field, and you'll see also, look at the size difference in the wiring as well. Well, so you can see there, three-phase. Yeah, it's much harder to see on the normal brushless motor, but on the bi-turbo one, there's a lot of power going through this motor. So this is the engine essentially that is driving our bi-turbo brushless machines. Okay.
Yep.
So
it's not just the motors that are beefed up on these machines as well. You can see on the end of the connectors there, they've actually got ring terminals. So the actual terminals are bolted to the module. The module itself, I don't think we've got one.
cut to the overhead. Let's show it very quickly. Yeah.
There you go. So that's bolted to the module. So it's a more of a permanent solid fixing. And even the module has an aluminium heat shrink actually on the back of it. But sorry, heat sink on the back of it to draw the heat out that's created during the operation of the machine.
That's right, yes. So first part, what makes bi-turbo brushless powerful? Obviously the motor is one of the most important parts. However, there's no point having a really powerful motor if you don't have the power source. Obviously, in the good old days, when you had, well, I say good old days, they're still here, right? When you have mains machines, you can draw as much power as you need, generally speaking, from that plug socket.
Common misconception is obviously if you've got like something like a 2,000 watt machine, you can keep pulling watts out of the wall. You could pull maybe 3,000 watts on a 2,000 watt machine. However, if with using batteries, you have a limited capacity of wattage to get from that battery, or wattage equivalent. You can use watt hours, but again, they don't really sort of match up with watts in general. So we give a wattage equivalent. So,
right. So motor's one part. The second part, that's the most critical part, is we needed to upgrade our battery platform. So the second part of the puzzle for bi-turbo, motor and battery. And as you can see here, you probably already know, we know there's plenty of Bosch fans out there, but anyone who isn't familiar, introducing our Procore 18 volt battery range.
Yep.
You got our, we'll touch upon it very briefly. You've obviously got the 4 amp hour at the end there.
Yep.
Okay, 5.5, the 8 and our 12. Now the ones we're really interested in are the 5.5 up to the 12 amp hour.
I'll just move the 4 over there a little bit.
It's an excellent battery.
It's a great battery.
When we're talking about bi-turbo brushes, we're really looking at
Those
these three. Okay, so Danny, let's start off with a little bit of a history lesson, just very briefly, because for those standard 18 volt battery platform, we were using a specific cell, which was the 18650 cell.
There you go, the 18650 cell there. Quite a small, unassuming piece of kit, really. 18 millimeters diameter, 65 millimeters in height.
That's right. They ran our normal, I say normal, ran the cool pack battery. Okay. Have I got an example? Yes, I've got a 6 amp hour over here. Right, we're talking about these kinds of batteries. Okay. Very good, very powerful. However, when we wanted to move up to the larger machines, we needed to change the technology. So that was our existing, and we still have it to this day.
Still perfectly good battery. We still sell them. Perfect for powering any of our system tools.
Yeah, so this would, again, we're trying to use equivalents here. We would set our normal cool pack batteries, ideal for running your standard 18 volt machines or handheld portable tools that are roughly that 800 watts of corded equivalent performance. 800 watts, okay, running on that 18650 cell. So again, that battery, the cells that we use for run our Procore 18V batteries is different, however. We're moving up to a 21700.
21700 there, so 21 millimeters across, 70 millimeters high.
That's right, yeah. So if I slide this in, you'll see the components, the difference of our Procore 18V battery. Obviously, it's similar. However, already you should visually see the difference. Let's start off with the first most obvious thing, which is the copper contacts.
That's it. We use nickel plating on the original ones, along with many of the other manufacturers out there. In fact, they're still using nickel plating to a certain degree. We use copper on ours. our Procore batteries, lower internal resistance and higher heat tolerance as well. So the ability to transmit heat out of the battery.
That's right. The reason why we did that is because we wanted to draw, we want to draw even more power out of these batteries. We want to be using essentially, well, 90 amps really.
Yeah.
We're wanting to double the amount of current draw.
Yeah,
compared to the
1600
18650.
watts as opposed to your 800 watts you were getting for the standard cool pack
Yeah.
batteries.
So copper was the ideal contact material to try and minimize that internal resistance because we were going to draw so much current through it. The other thing you'll see is, you've got an example there.
I have an example there. So there's one there without the actual cells in it. So this has the HDPE material, this plastic material here. It's not just for styling. It's a high density polyethylene. It's a thermoplastic and it's designed to draw the heat out of the cells. It's not by coincidence that the bottom half of the cell here, the battery here, looks like a bit like a heat sink.
It even says cooling fins on the bottom.
It does say cooling fins on the bottom, and that's basically so the heat can escape from the battery. A lot of people will have these batteries and realise they get a bit warm after you're using them. That's a good thing. The heat's actually coming out of the cells, keeping the lithium ion nice and cold in there, giving you much more workload without overheating the cells.
That's right, yeah. So you might be asking, or maybe be a bit quizzical and go, but you know, plastic's not really renowned for being a good transfer of heat. Typically, plastics tend to be a good insulator.
Yes.
However, all the plastics in general, they exist on a spectrum, with certain plastics being more of an insulator, while others are better at transferring heat energy. And HDPE is on the further end, the more transferable, more heat transferring plastic.
That's it.
We used it in the cool pack batteries. You can see the red material here, and we enhanced it with this generation 2. In fact, each individual 21700 cell is entirely encapsulated in that HDPE material. So much better heat management.
That's it, and you did direct transfer from the cells, all of the cells at the same time.
That's right. We also took the opportunity to reinforce the batteries as well a little bit. You notice here on the corners, we put some steel edging on here. So better drop resistance, because obviously if a battery drops, it's typically going to land on the corners. That helps keep the internal cells protected.
Yep. The end cap for the actual battery here contains a TPE material, or thermoplastic elastomer. Very long way of saying basically neoprene type material. This is designed to reduce any air gaps at the ends of the cells and also transmit heat through to the outside of the battery. Now our latest battery charger, the GAL 18V-160, actually has fans that blow down the side of the battery to control the temperature whilst charging. So a smart charging system there that also cools the battery.
Right, yeah. So essentially now with the Procore 18V batteries, you've essentially got 360-degree heat dissipation. Again, the reason why we needed to re-engineer our batteries, we didn't want to just keep it the same as we had for the cool packs. We knew what we wanted to do with our Procore batteries, which was to drive big motors like this, using the 21700 cell to try and draw that 90 amps of current out of there to get essentially what we're looking at, which is corded equivalent performance.
Exactly.
Right. So there's your second part of the puzzle. BITURBO motors, Procore 18V batteries, and that's what we're using to power these BITURBO machines.
It's worth mentioning as well at this time that if you've purchased into the Procore system of batteries, you don't need to buy additional BITURBO machines that will they have to run on those batteries. You can run your standard system tools on these batteries as well. Right, yeah. So ignore it if you ignore BITURBO. That's the last thing we want to do in this live stream. But if you completely ignore BITURBO, the Procore battery on its own is a fantastic update to any machine that you've got.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if you're just using it for runtime.
I mean, it's one of the things we also don't really talk too much about. Obviously, our tools are made to a really high quality. The batteries share that high build quality too. The cool packs were made out of that GF30 PA6 material, so that's a glass reinforced fiber, so they're really tough. The Procores, they feel excellent. So you know, you can reassured these can handle being dropped. Well, I wouldn't say recommend them using as hammers, but I know you guys will. These are really tough batteries. They're much harder, or they're much more resilient compared to stuff like the polycarbonate or the ABS materials out there. Glass reinforced fiber really helps. You can really feel it. They are solid batteries.
No, that's just it. There's virtually no air inside them.
Exactly. Right, so we've established the two things that really are important when it comes to the battery system. However, we don't want to end just there. We are going to get into the tools, but however, we can't go too far without mentioning obviously our latest battery technology, which is the Procore 18V Plus batteries. Now, we had a little live stream a little while ago actually introducing this earlier in the year.
Yep, I think we covered it twice actually.
That's right, yeah. So we're going to cover it very quickly, but what we're doing here is we've upgraded the cell, haven't we, Dan?
Yep, so what we've done, if we've taken one of these batteries here and we've pulled those cells out of it and we've put these cells in its place. The only difference being they're actually tabless cells. So it's eliminating again the internal resistance of the actual cell. So the resistance inside this end, the end caps, where the actual internal mechanisms are welded together, the contact points, they've got rid of those and they've beveled over the contacts inside, popped it all in a can together, eliminated the need for welding, and reduced any heat build-up. And so you can use the batteries harder for longer without any performance drop, without as quick a performance drop. So you get more longer runtime in really hard, demanding situations.
Right, yeah, so we're talking about up to, you know, let's forget the internal resistance. We can talk about the statistics on that, but really what it matters when it comes to brass tacks, 36% less heat build-up, which translates to up to 71% longer runtime. You know,
it's a crazy
compared
number
to a normal 8 amp hour. They're both 8 amp hour batteries, but you know, these are super efficient, so they run even better, giving you absolutely huge numbers when it comes to performance. Okay, when it comes to like other machines, like 71% is the top mark, but you know, we're looking for, you know, you get up to 44% more material removal when using an angle grinder.
That's crazy on an angle grinder because you really load those up with a lot of pressure. You're really dragging a lot of power out of that battery at any one time.
You get nearly 50% more cuts out of a 12-inch bi-turbo brushless miter saw. You're 41% more cuts out of a 12-inch miter saw. When it comes to circular saws, 22% longer distance cut. And honestly, look, amazing. But even when it comes to hammer drills, like that 71% was on our biggest hammer drill. Step down to the 40, you're still getting up to 50% more performance for the same amp hour batteries. It's just super efficient with that energy, preventing that heat build up and that thing called derating that stops the machine from fully utilizing the power.
And it still fits all those system tools.
Exactly. If you wanted to, you can pop that on the smallest Combi. It's worked perfectly. However, the real benefit is when you're using them hard with the machines that we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So before we get right into the first machine, Ella, I think we might have maybe some questions already.
Yeah, we've had quite a few questions about workwear.
Oh, of course we have. Yeah.
Which isn't too surprising.
Bi-turbo workwear, maybe?
Yeah, Marcus is in, obviously.
Yeah. And we've also had PF Cutters ask, speaking of batteries, when are we getting the 4, 5.5 and 12 amp versions of the new Procore 18 volt plus tabless batteries?
Good question.
That is a good question.
Let's just say I might have seen something today, so I can definitely say something's happening.
He's keeping something under his hat today because I know he disappeared off for a meeting earlier.
That's right. I had a very, very fun meeting where I got to see...
He's not shared any of it.
No, super secret, super secret. I haven't told Dan, so I can't tell you yet dates. But surprise, surprise, it's what we predicted in the past when we first launched the Procore 18V Plus batteries, that there would be a rolling change where we would be upgrading the other amp hour batteries. An exact date, can't give you one just yet. You're not going to be waiting years, don't worry about that. It'll be coming sooner rather than later. My fingers are crossed that at some point next year, potentially, we might be starting to see some more amp hour batteries in that Procore 18V Plus variety. However, if I'm being honest with you, the 8 amp hour Procore Plus battery is the perfect choice. Maybe what you're asking for is a 12 amp hour one.
Yes.
Yeah, or bigger.
Or bigger.
Okay, I'll leave it there for now. Any other questions, Ella? Or should we move on?
Off the back of that, PF Cutters has also asked, will we be making a 16 amp Procore 18 volt plus battery, as this would make this would be sufficient for a 27 kg bi-turbo breaker.
Well,
It would, wouldn't it, I think?
maybe. A 15 amp, did you say?
16.
16. Maybe not 16, because of the way how you multiply the amp hours on the cells. I think you're more likely to get 15.
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Currently, the 21700 cells, be they tabbed or tabless, are 4 amp hours per cell. So a triple layer, maybe they'll up it to 5 amp hours a cell. That would give you the potential of 15. But again, early days at the moment.
We'll see.
We'll see.
But rest assured, we are going to be bringing out more tabless cell batteries.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so hopefully you're still with us for that, we had to do an intro because we can't talk about BITURBO brushes without obviously talking about the battery platform that runs it. So a whistle stop tour. If you want to find out more about our Procore 18V batteries, feel free to rewatch segments of our 18-volt live stream where obviously we cover the battery platform.
Yep.
And if you want to know more about the Procore 18V Plus battery, that's fine. We've obviously got a video on that, and also we did a very fancy live stream talking about that as well. And I'm sure many people out there watching us live now have obviously seen that already.
We got really down into the weeds of all the nuts and bolts on that as well. So lots of confusing numbers, but it's definitely worth a watch if you want to understand it.
Okay, so let's move on to the first machine. Now, this is not a new machine, but it's probably the most important machine we've got in the range. Let's start strong. Let's start off with two of our Combi, or wheel drivers and Combi.
So one of my favourites, these ones, because never fails to disappoint when you're demonstrating these machines. So this is the GSR 18V-150C. And the GSB 18V-150C. So 150 Newton meters of turning force out of these machines. Fantastically powerful. The side handle is not just there for show. It's definitely needed on this particular machine.
Yeah, I'm just lining up the pop-ups. There you go, right.
Lovely.
So what's the difference between the two? Well, obviously the GSR is a dedicated drill driver, and then the GSB, and obviously we're talking here in the UK, so the GSB is our combination drill driver, our Combi. That's the one we're working with here. This is nice to have, we still sell it. However, let's move it to one side and let's focus on the GSB, because that's got all the features of the GSR and some. And
it's got, obviously the percussion hammer function in there as well for drilling in, especially in this country, red brick and the regular building materials you'll find.
Right, yes, so let's get started. 150 Newton meters of max torque, loads of power. You're looking at 84 Newton meters of soft torque, 100 Newton meters of hard torque. Hey, do you know what? We need to do a live stream on the differences between all these torques.
Yes.
Oh, that would be fabulous.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Okay, it's got a 2-speed gearbox on the top there. Okay, first gear is 550 RPM, and then you can switch that to your high-speed gear, low torque, high speed, 2,200 RPM, loads of speed and performance, loads of torque. Even in that second gear, the fast speed, you've still got loads of torque.
No, we do applications with this all the time. We've demonstrated it on a few live streams now, where you put it in the wrong gear to do a job. No one else would try and do that on any other Combi drill, but this just glides through it, no problem.
BITURBO motor plus the Procore, you've got so much headroom, buckets of power when it comes to this machine. Okay.
I think I've seen the video in Germany of them putting in metre-long screws with these particular machines.
Right, yeah, and we'll play you a very short video at some point later on today explaining why we'd want you to upgrade from your standard machines up to your 18-volt BITURBO brush machines. And this is a great example of why. Move up from a normal Combi to one of these bad boys, you'll be really happy. BPM, so beats per minute, 30,000, so very, very progressive. It's a all metal chuck, you'd expect it. 30 mil all metal chuck. It's a ROM chuck, as you'd expect. It's really nice, rugged design. Nice all metal parts here. Your torque control. You got your 25 plus one.
Yes. No plus one on that.
Oh yeah, 25.
Yes, 25. No.
And then you've got your 3-mode wheel on the top there. That's the overhead camera. Let's see if it's going to play ball today. Yes, it is. There you go, and that's your mode switch. Your screwdriving function, allowing you to utilize the torque functions here. Your drill mode, so you're now unleashing that maximum torque of 150, and then you can pop it over to there when you're working in your red brick or your
and that activates your hammer function there. So absolutely brilliant. One of my favorite features on there is this small LED that you find on the back there. Down at the bottom here we have electronic angle assist or angle detection, just there. So if I press that button, it comes up with, currently it's set to 60, so 60 degrees. The mobile phone button, so you can connect this to your toolbox app and you can adjust the specific angle that you want to drill. But we'll set it to 45 from here. Pop it down on the table, so it, I'll do that again because it needs to calibrate off of a flat surface.
So there you go. You'll see the LED now.
So there you go, it's calibrated. If I go through that again to let you see, there you go. So leave it on a flat surface, it flashes yellow, then turns green. Then when I go to drill, so if I tilt the drill that way, you'll see it goes amber when it's close to 45 degrees, and then green when it's dead on 45 degrees.
A bit hard for you to see on the screen, but it's very clear the difference between yellow and green here.
And it works in all 6 axes as well. Obviously the longer drill, but you have, the less accurate it's going to be. But if you're just drilling for 8mm plugs, wall plugs, then absolutely perfect.
Right.
Plus the fact it gives you, even if you've got a tolerance when you're using concrete fixings, for instance, so there's plenty of information there to go on when you're fixing that sort of thing. It's very much more accurate than eyeballing it, which is what I'm sure most people do out there.
You'll be surprised how often you think you're level when in fact you are very far from level, and you'll only find that out when you've gone through the other side of the wall and someone's gone. Okay, so remember this is a connected product, so it's got a C in the name, 150C. Here is the connectivity module, GCY module goes here. That allows you to make those custom changes to that angle detection, EAD, on the custom mode. Now, auxiliary handle, yes, it's huge, as Danny pointed out. Why? Because you've got loads of torque. But don't worry, because this machine also has kickback protection. Quick demonstration, just to prove the point. The machine was the jam. Okay, my finger's still on the trigger. The machine is switched off or deactivated. LED is blindingly flashing me in the face. And you'll see that the LED, there we are, maybe you can just see is now flashing red. And I'll see the kickback button there has indicated in red.
Yep.
Okay, much easier to see when you're in person, harder for us to show on camera. Let go of the trigger. Machine is now reactivated.
So really safe machine, but you will notice at the bottom here we also have another button on the other side from the EAD, which is a kickback selection button. So turning it off seems like an absolute ludicrous idea, considering it's designed to protect you. But however, in applications that this machine is capable of, such as 150mm hole saws, for instance, there's an awful lot of drag on that machine, and that's enough to trip the kickback to protect you. So if you use a side handle in association with the kickback off, it gives you that element of control.
That's right. With previous machines, we allowed you to switch off the kickback system, but you had to use the Toolbox app. We obviously felt that was a little bit too inconvenient, a little bit slows you down a little bit, so we have a dedicated button to deactivate that mode. Yeah. As Danny said, when you don't want it. But if you are going to switch it off, do not use this machine one-handed.
No.
This is big boy toys, and it needs this auxiliary side handle. And in fact, you can't be holding it just like this unless you've got absolute sausage fingers and you can really grip. As always, have the auxiliary handle going into something that's solid, either your thigh or into the palm of your hand, because you'll be surprised. In gear 1, driving large screws, I had to hold on for dear life. Otherwise, I was going to be Swiss cheese.
Always remember, if it does kick back, it kicks back in the opposite rotation to what you're drilling.
Yeah, that's right.
So be prepared for it. Yeah,
so
that goes for all machines with side handles.
So hopefully we're not scaring you too much. Trust me when I say this machine has all the power you could need. So if you are in the market for a really powerful, fast and efficient combi drill or drill driver, then you don't need to go any further than the 150C series. Perfect machine. Right. Okay, I think we had some questions. So let's pause for a second. Ella, what have we got?
Radine has asked, could we ever see a bi-turbo flexi click?
Yeah, we could. We'd really have to beef up the tool attachment to try and deliver that 150 Newton meter torque for an adapter.
Well, our flexi clicks are GSRs, not the GSB, so there wouldn't be a GSB version of a flexi click. It'd be the GSR. But no, I don't think so. Not the percussion wouldn't work around the 90 degree. So
Well, not at that power, but
not that power. No.
It's
not impossible. But
whether or not we'd want to. Yeah.
But then again, our flexi click have an SDS Plus attachment, which you can use on a right angle. So who knows?
Exactly. So what's the answer to question? Maybe.
It's not that something that I've seen sight of, but then again, Chris has been in a lot more meetings than I have. So
No. Yeah. Well, 150 flexi click, we could. Don't know if there's a market in it. But we probably could. We could definitely add some more products to the combi range, because as you can see, we've only got the two machines, the GSR and the GSB 150C. But at the moment, when it comes to raw power, this machine's all we need.
Yeah, I mean, and then at the end of the day, when it comes up down to power tool innovations, pushing things forward, the numbers are going to get bigger. They have to get bigger. It's an arms race amongst the brands, which is actually a good thing for you guys out there, because you get to pick for some better and better products as they come out.
That's right.
So yeah, I should imagine the torque will probably go up on the next model that comes out. Who knows? Flex Click seems like a pretty good idea.
Flexi Click's a very popular machine for us. It's very successful. Within the highest we've got currently is obviously the 90. Quite a lot of power, but there's obviously 64 Newton meters of torque on the 90 Flexi Click. There's plenty of space to move up. But I mean, look, generally speaking, it always surprises me that the machine's only 2.2 kilos. There's a lot of power for quite a lightweight. So yeah, potentially we could have a Flexi Click version with more power. Okay, cool. Hello, any more?
Another question is, will we ever see a GSB with 3-speed gearbox in the future?
What's the point?
From,
Why would we want 3-speed?
from personal experience, majority of people out there using a Combi, and forgive me if I'm wrong, will take it out of the box, put it in second gear, and then just use it, and then will never change gear again.
Yeah, do you know, I've been a little blunt there. Why bother? Obviously, with our impact wrenches and drivers, having 3 speeds is quite important because it helps you dial in the amount of torque delivered as well, and also gives you a little bit of control over maybe shorter, a little smaller fixings.
Yeah.
Okay, with a Combi, essentially the gears are designed for depends on application. With your high-speed gear, that's your drilling mode. Okay, that's when you want speed, but you don't need torque. And then really gear 1, that's for your higher drag applications, maybe auger drilling, for example, where you need that slow turning force. But then this isn't the 150, which
That'll do it
in all gears. Yeah,
doing all the gears.
I mean, imagine if you wanted to do a really big auger or a really long screw, you're going to have to go to mode 1, okay, for the torque. But you kind of don't need that in-between step unless you tell me otherwise. So feel free to give us some more. Put in the comments why you'd want that third gear and what you'd use it for. But we are aware of our drivers, our wrenches and impact drivers, not Combis. We typically will have 3-speed settings.
Yeah, but like we said on all of our live streams, if you've got any ideas or anything like that, by all means put them in the chat. And yeah, I think the brand managers and everything watch the live streams, so with a bit of luck, who knows?
Yeah, I just realised I misspoke. Not 3 gears, 3 speed settings.
3 speed settings.
Yeah. Okay. Should we carry on, LOL? We got more.
Another question
Yes, keep
is
going.
actually from Max. He's in the chat and he said, is the auxiliary handle included in the scope of supply?
You hope so.
Of course, yes. Well, for safety reasons, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All of the safety related items are included in there. And then when we come to grinders later on, you'll find all of those now come with a cutting guard as well as a grinding guard as well. Right, yeah. So, yep.
Just so you know, to adjust the guard, adjust the auxiliary side handle, we made it nice and easy. Just twist this to loosen it, and then you can pull the handle out towards this little arrow that shows you, and then you can roll it around. You'll notice you can probably hear that on the mic. You've got essentially little steps there.
It's got an indexing system for you to actually drop it in and then tighten the handle up again.
So if you're left-handed, okay.
Don't over tighten it because I can never get them undone when you
keep going.
I'm going to struggle with that later.
There you go. So if you're left-handed, obviously, have it going into your palm. Really quick and really easy.
Yep.
What's missing from this, and unfortunately we tend to do aware of it because we don't tend to do a lot of applications that need the depth adjustment, but obviously we have a little depth stop that slides in here. And
comes with the rod there to screw it.
So all of our machines come with that, and I think we always take these off because we don't want to pull our trousers down, but we also have a belt hook as standard on all our Combis. We tend to leave them off, but you'll see on some of our other machines we've left them on for context. So yes, okay, Ella, can we move on? Or
Yeah, that's all the questions.
Perfect. Okay, so we've talked about our drill drive and Combi. Let's call it range for the time being. Combis within the BITURBO range. I don't know if you need any more, so we'll move on to the next type of machine, and we're moving away from Combis and moving towards our impact wrenches, which are on my side.
You've got those ones, yes.
Right. So first one, I'm going to grab the
GDS 18V-1000.
Okay, so there's 2 models in the 1000. There's your 1000. Here it is.
There you go.
Okay, and I'm going to slide this one in, and this will be your 1000C. Okay, let's do away. Actually, no. Let's compare. Let's talk about the difference between the 2 machines.
Yes.
Okay, they have the same specs. Okay, these are both 1000 Newton meters of torque. Okay, when it comes to breakaway, these are off the top of my head. I cannot remember what it is. Oh, I should look that one up. Terrible, isn't it? They have same torque. Okay, they have the same max
1600.
Yeah, of course. The other one's 1700.
1700. Yeah.
Okay, cool. They have. Let's have a look at the normal one, the 1000. Okay, which has 3 speed settings on the front. There, it's got a much more simplified interface. There's your 1, 2, 3. It's got a little HMI screen, a little green light up here. That gives you some status on the machine, whether or not it's overheating or the battery is draining. So that will go from green to amber to red once the battery is depleted or the machine is overheated. And you have the ability here to toggle the LED light on and off on that other button there. So much more simplified or stripped down interface on the 1000. Okay. If we look at some of the other specs, okay, you're looking at a no load speed in that speed 1 of 800 RPM. Speed 2 is 1200 RPM, and then up to the maximum of 1750 RPM, giving you that maximum torque of that 1000 Newton meters of tightening and that 1600 Newton meters of breakaway torque. Now, the machine's not a light machine. You know, so there's a lot of weight to it, as you can imagine. There's a big there's a big hammer, not a hammer and anvil, but there
It is a hammer and anvil. Yeah,
fair
that's
enough,
classed
I'll
as
call
a
it
hammer and
that. Yeah,
anvil.
hammer and
Yeah.
anvil there. So you need that weight to deliver that max torque. So we're looking at about 3 kilos,
Yeah.
2.9 kilos
Yeah.
without a battery. And add a battery on.
That's about a kilo more. Yeah.
Yeah, about a kilo. So it's you know, you don't need to go to the gym if you're using this regularly, I can imagine.
No. I was concerned about the belt hook on this particular machine for the same reason Chris mentioned earlier.
It needs to be substantial. I mean, that's more like a ladder hook.
You need a good quality belt. Put it that way.
Yeah. Or a big belt. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to the one that I really want to talk about, which is the bells and whistle one, which is going to be the 1000C model.
Yeah. So you notice on the front here we have the Bluetooth module that fits into the side of this machine, making this one a connected model. So again, you can communicate with this using the Toolbox app to make adjustments when it comes to the torques. Not the torque. Well, yes. Kind of the torque, but the speed settings and the automatic bolt release functionality, along with the ability to limit tightening torque.
Yes, exactly. So that AB torque control, or we used to call it the AB mode, but really it's like custom torque modes.
Okay. The APP functionality, we got tripped over by that one as well. Yeah.
So if I go to the close-up camera, you'll see the interface is slightly different. Now you've got your 1, 2, 3, same as the other machine. You can obviously modify these in the app. You've got basically sliders in the Bosch Toolbox app that allow you to change the RPM on those to whatever you would wish. Still needs to be in ascending order, so speed 1 is always going to be the lower of the 3 settings. Okay. Then you've got that AB torque mode selection here that Danny is referring to. With this particular model, you can toggle between the two. Okay, you would program those into your smartphone, and that would be designed for running. Say
it's
coach bolts, or you'll be
running
just bolts,
just nuts and bolts. Yeah.
Okay. And for those, obviously, you can determine a number of different settings: automatic shut-off, that automatic bolt retention or release system, and then with screws, it's the same kind of thing. You can have an auto slowdown, auto stop, etc., etc.
Yeah. And the app always, and as far as all of these wrenches, the app also gives you the ability to create 25 separate settings, and within each of those settings is a loosen and tighten functionality on them. So an extra 50 different programs that you can put into these machines. Very quick to actually create a library of fixings, which you can put into the machine, adjust it with the app, done. Yeah.
Now, this is obviously, you can probably tell already, this is our 1/2 inch square on the front here, tool holder. We've got bigger than that. We've got more powerful machines. So let's move on to the one that has the, I say, slightly bigger tool fitting.
Yep, the 3/4.
That's right. Okay, so right, let's get the order right this time. First one up.
With the 3/4 inch anvil comes obviously an up in torque as well. So this is the GDS 18V-1050H and the HC. I believe we have the HC there as well. Yep, you got them there. So basically the same process as we were talking about before. These machines have basically the same performance, except one is the connected machine, this one just here, and one is the non-connected version, this one here. So down here you've got the 3-speed settings on the non-connected version and the toggle for the light. Over on the connected one we have the 3-speed settings and the AB functionality in there as well.
So absolutely the same setup. So I'm going to slide this one out of the way. We'll focus on this model again. What's the difference? Well, we've got more torque, obviously because we can handle it now that we've got the 3/4 square tool fitment here.
Yep.
Okay, maximum torque of 1050 newton meters of torque. This one's the one that's got that 1700 newton meters of breakaway force, so loads of power.
Yeah.
Both in both operations. The AB torque selection mode is exactly the same as Dan pointed out.
Yeah.
You've still got the ability to do coach bolts and your normal nut and bolt fixings.
Yeah, you're stepping into sort of the realms of almost like gantry-way assembly work for heavy road works, that sort of thing. Industrial fastenings.
Yeah,
really large fittings.
Weight-wise, basically the same, 2.9 kilos without a battery. Again, it's a bit of a workout, but if you guys are used to using these machines, you understand what you're in for. If you want raw power, you know, that's what you've got to do. You can't have this much power without a bit of weight. But, to be honest, it's good ergonomics, good balance.
That's it. It takes two things to provide the amount of torque that these machines do. As Chris said before, the weight of the hammer and the anvil in the gearbox area, but also the speed at which the motor turns rather than the torque of the motor. So these are incredibly fast motors as opposed to a more torquey motor. The torque's not necessarily required when it comes to the gearbox design of these particular machines.
Yeah, the default mode on this, so 1, 2, 3, especially for the non-connected machine, you're looking at hello Dan, 800 RPM, 1300 RPM, and then 1750 RPM. So basically, it's very similar to the 1000 and the 1000C.
Yeah.
So lots of power, lots of speed when you need it, and the 1/2 inch isn't powerful enough.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay. Now, lots of chuckling in the background.
There was, yes.
Is it funny questions we were getting? No, it's
I think Ella exploded at the back of the room, and my watch decided you were wrong.
Right.
I'd say it was a sneeze.
That was it.
It was
It was a
quiet
sneeze.
sneeze. No questions yet, Ella, yeah?
We have had a few coming.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's pause and have a little look.
What was that noise?
Someone has said, I use the GDX 18V 200C and the GDS 18V 100 for auto mechanic works. Both are unbelievably brilliant. Every now and then I need something smaller. Any plans for a very compact impact driver?
We do a 12V, which is 110.
105,
Is it-
is it 110? We've also got the 3/8 drive.
There's a 3/8 drive in 12, 12 volt. We've also got the 3/8 drive in 18 as well.
Yeah, so
That's a very short nose machine as well.
yeah, sorry. I not zoned out, but I missed what machines does he use currently?
A GDX
210.
18V 200C and a GDS 18V 100 for auto mechanic works.
100.
1000, sorry.
1000, yeah, that's
Well, I got weird. I got
yeah.
I got distracted.
Sorry.
Because I was trying to
We're in
work
the
out
hundreds.
where the 100 came from. So smaller, yeah. Danny pointed out 12 volts a really good place to look.
Yep.
I think you'll really struggle to find machines smaller than the 200 that are GDSs
Or GDXs.
or GDXs. Obviously, we've just released. Isn't going to be what you want, but we obviously have a smaller GDR, the 220 series. Convenient, you just have this in the room, so that's a lot smaller than your normal drive or wrench.
You could use this with like nut setters or an adapter and sockets. But so far as a dedicated small head designed 1/2 inch or GDS model, I haven't seen anything about that
Not
yet.
yet.
But
Maybe in the future what we'll have is we'll have this 220, but as a GDS as opposed to a GDR.
yes,
So maybe we might have one.
yeah, I would say it's an obvious way to go. Those are the new generation of motors that we're using now, so it stands to reason. The machines aren't going to get any bigger, so yeah,
Exactly.
we just thought so.
Any other questions, Alan?
One more question for now from PF Cutters. He says, how about a bi-turbo version of your GKM 18V 50 and also bring out a larger bi-turbo size of the GKM at the size of a GKS 18V 68 GC?
Yeah, so you're wanting
metal saws, yeah.
Metal saws, yeah. Bi-turbo brushes might not be needed. It might not need that bi-turbo brushless sticker because obviously there's a certain level at which a machine stops becoming 18V and becomes bi-turbo brushless. So maybe we might not need a bi-turbo brushless machine.
It wouldn't be a high-speed motor because the GKMs run slower than most circular saws. They run through a gearbox for that, so not high speed, high torque maybe, but we'd hopefully, well, it's 50 millimeters maximum cutting capacity and profile. If you're trying to do, actually, we have torture tested it on steel plate before, and it did remarkably well. But you'd be able to up obviously the capacity of the materials you're cutting.
Sorry, it's a good question. I think it'd be good to have one.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything inkling that we're going to go for a larger metal saw. I have seen excellent news in regards to even bigger capacity wood saws. Can't tell you too much more, so that's definitely happening. Perhaps the metal saws will come in line. Okay.
Yeah, who knows?
And then just the last question for now. Someone said, any chance to make an 18V grooming air blower? Got to look good at work too.
Grooming air blower, wow.
Maybe an attachment for an existing air blower. The 750, I think. It depends how much hair you've got, really.
Exactly. You can use the 750. You might need to move away.
Yeah, just stand at distance. Get a friend to hold the leaf blower. You should be fine.
No plans yet. However, who knows? Maybe it'll be added to the up and coming secret leisure range of power tools that we might be coming out with. Hairdryer. Hairdryer was actually. I've worked obviously at Bosch for many years, and there was a product manager who really wanted to try and work out if we could make a hairdryer using.
Don't be tempted to use the hot air gun. definitely not. That's one.
Or be very quick.
Very quick.
You'll find out very quickly how quick you need to be before you're... Well, I don't know. Will it melt? Yeah, it'll melt first,
Yeah.
then it might combust. Okay, cool. Right, so we're getting distracted already. What time is it? Yep. We knew this was going to be a long live stream. Dan and I are going to get distracted very easy, so we'll stay on track. Okay, so we're not finished with impact wrenches yet. We've got one more to show.
Yep.
Save the biggest and heaviest to last.
Yep,
Okay.
this one's very new indeed. This is the GDS 18V-1600 HC, so 1600 Newton meters of tightening torque on this particular machine.
Yeah, giving you now 2,200 Newton meters of breakaway, so loads of power. Yeah, obviously it's running the 3/4 tool holder.
Yep.
Look, it's going to have the same things you're familiar with. Obviously, we're just making the machines more and more powerful. By turbo brushes, as you can imagine, loads of power. This one is connected as standard. The H stands for, you know, a through hole.
But it still does have a hog ring on the front there as well.
That's right, yes. When it comes to performance, you're looking as your standard mode, speed 1. You're going to be running at 800 RPM, then 1300, and then your 1750 as you'd expect RPM. But because this is a connected model, you can make all the changes as before.
Yep.
This machine also features that torque selection program mode, the AEB torque mode system. So you can program this for, as you can expect, really large coach bolts.
Yep.
Or your normal bolt fixings.
Yeah.
So loads and loads of power on this one. The machine's obviously a little bit heavier. Not too bad, 3.2 kilos, so a little bit more increased weight. It's all going to be in here, but excellent balancing.
Yeah.
Very nice, and obviously fits really well with a double layer battery. Might get a bit overkill with a 12 amp hour battery, but more than enough runtime on a 5.5 or 8.
Yeah. Do you think it's probably worth mentioning that there's no specific torques associated or torque figures associated with the tightening torques that are offered by the AB functionality. However, maybe there will be a machine that does.
Have we talked about it yet?
No.
No, we haven't
We
yet.
haven't
You'll
yet.
have to wait till mid-September.
Yes.
We're going to talk about new
Not
products
long.
coming out. So the way this would work is obviously there's a number of really interesting functions in regards to how you program that custom torque mode. We covered it in quite a lot of detail when we did the non-biturbo machine, which was the GDX and the GDR and the GDS 18V-210C, so the machine prior to that 220C model. And Danny and I took quite a bit of time to actually explain how you can program that machine. And essentially it's like a timed torque system.
Yes.
So you can dial in very, very specific types of applications where torque is not life and death critical, but obviously very important to prevent damaging material or damaging too deep.
Yeah, damaging fastenings when just doing them up. Yeah.
Or making sure that you don't run the nuts completely off the threads, for example, especially useful if you're a scaffolder, for example. You don't want to lose those clamp bolts and the clamps and everything. So some really great functionality. If you already have a C-class model machine connectivity, really spend the time to have a look in the Toolbox app and have a play at some of the functionality in there. You're paying for the functionality anyway. You'll find there's a lot of things in there that makes your life a little easier. Yeah. And these machines are no different. Okay, so that's the final impact wrench that we've got in the biturbo brushless range. Let's move over very quickly to do a top line look at our biturbo brushless angle grinders. These are on your side now.
I have got all these over here. So what we got first, I grab these two here. So right here I have the GWX 18V-15SC.
That's right, yep.
There you go. And here I have the GWX 18V-15
PSC.
PSC. That one is the paddle switch control one you can see on the side there.
That's the one.
There you go. There's many others. I shall catch the others.
Well, what we'll do actually, as this machine is the flagship model that we got on with all the bells and whistles, you'll see that we've got plenty of other different varieties when it comes to our biturbo brushless angle grinders. However, they're all based on the same templates.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go with the top of the range one with all the bells and whistles and talk about the basic functions. Obviously, when it comes to an angle grinder, the no load speed is quite important. It is, as this is a PSC, okay, so you've got your paddle switch as we discussed, but you also have S, which means your speed control unit. So on the front here, let's pop a battery on down. What have we got here?
Well, I've got plenty of
Lots
them.
of choice.
We'll pop it on this one. Makes sense.
Okay. So you'll see you've got your interface here, okay, and you've got the ability to cycle through 3 different speed modes, okay. That ranges between 3,400 RPM and it will go all the way up to a maximum of 9,800 RPM. You can program these again via the Toolbox app because this is a connected model. So it has a connectivity module here. So you can program that very similar to how we talked about earlier with the impact wrenches.
Yeah, and this makes perfect sense when it comes to some of the accessories. One of the major accessories on grinding discs you'll find is bonded abrasive discs. Now they do have, and then most people don't pay attention to it, they do have a maximum speed rating. Obviously if you exceed that maximum speed rating, it's a disc strike or disc burst can be possible depending on the quality of the disc that you're using. Being able to actually keep the speed under control or within the tolerance of the disc is a massive advantage when it comes to using accessories. I mean, anyone out there who's used a rotary wire brush, for instance, and run it too fast knows that they lose their wire bristles quite quickly. And again, you end up having to buy replacement accessories more often.
That's right. Right, so when it comes to the biturbo machines, just like the GSR GSB, they come with all the bells and whistles when it comes to the relevant protection features. Now, with an angle grinder, you know, they can get quite dangerous depending on the applications and accessories you're using. However, we've added some features, or we've obviously have the features you might already know on our biturbo brushless grinders as well. The main one will be something we refer to as kickback control, which means if the machine bites or kicks or binds in the material, and the machine kicks, just like in a Combi, the angle grinder will disengage. I can do that very quickly by demonstrating. Okay, finger or my hand is still holding the paddle switch, so the machine is on still. Spin it around. Okay, you'll see on the screen there, the HMI is flashing red. The kickback indication button has gone red as well, indicating the machine has kicked. Let go of the trigger, it'll go green, and then ready to go again.
There you go. You'll find also in the Toolbox app, it will also leave an alert to say that a kickback situation has occurred as well. So if you do have an apprentice using a grinder, okay, should be looking over his shoulder most of the time. However, it will give you an alert on your device, the date, the time of when the kickback occurred, and maybe offer a little bit more advice or a little bit more training.
Okay, not only does it have kickback, but it also has drop control. Okay, so if the machine drops and it isn't using a momentary paddle switch, okay, the machine obviously would hit the ground and carry on running. However, because it's got that technology inside, the machine again will automatically switch off, probably before it's even hit the ground, because it's got an accelerometer as opposed to an impact sensor.
Yeah.
Okay, let go, and then the machine is operational again. So a nice set of safety features there. Now, this particular model is the GWX, which means it's got our X-Lock system down.
Yep, the advantages with this as well are we're able to stop the discs a lot quicker. I'm sure there's a few people out there who've gone to put their grinder down and it's not been in the same place where you put it down because the discs caught the ground and away it goes. Now, we're able to stop it a lot quicker with this because it's a positive lock system. There you go, and that's all it takes to pop a disc on. We can stop it dead quick, so you haven't got that issue remaining anymore. If we did that on a GWS or the spindle lock or M14 type fitment, the inertia of the disc, especially when you're using a heavier metal cutting discs such as this one, the tension is, the possibility is for that disc to rotate and undo the actual nut itself. So again, it's a massive safety feature, saves you time, saves you energy, it saves putting the disc on the wrong way round when it comes to some of the gulleted blades, which actually have a direction as well. It's a no-brainer when it comes to safety.
So let me just show you
time.
Yeah, let me show you the X-brake system now very quickly. So we cut to the close-up camera, you'll see I'm going to activate the machine, then switch it off, and you'll see just how quickly that blade stops. Okay, so by the time you've let go of the trigger and you place the machine down, that X-brake would have cut in, switched the machine off nice and quick, making that nice, basically rendering it inert. So when you place it on the ground, or ground, floor, desk, it's not going to run away with you into your work colleague's lap. Okay, so yes, Danny's already explained all the benefits of X-Lock. Again, we don't want to go into too much detail because it's not about X-Lock versus the normal M14 spindle. Just important for you to know, M14 mount. Just important for you to know that when it comes to our biturbo grinders, we've got them in both flavors. We've got the GWS and we've also got the GWX models. So you can choose whichever one you want. My recommendation, X-Lock. For many reasons, as Danny's already pointed out there.
However, if you have got, if you're thinking about buying accessories and you see X-Lock accessories on the shelf, maybe they're out of stock of the standard M14 ones, they will fit the M14 as well. The internal dimensions of the X-Lock disc are designed to fit on the M14 spindle. So again, we haven't thought about you when it comes to backwards compatibility. Maybe buy into a few accessories that are X-Lock accessories, and then next time you need a new grinder, step up to the X-Lock grinder.
That's right.
Take full advantage of all of the advantages to have with it.
Right, so we're not going to go through the whole range because, again, we don't need to. If you really want to see the entire range of grinders, again, feel free to check out the previous live stream on the 18-volt range in its entirety, where we obviously included the grinders. We went through all the different models. But rest assured, within the BITURBO range, we've got all the different flavors depending on what you require. You can have ones that are purely just connected. Okay, so they're just a C model. You'll have ones that have the SC in the name, which means they have the speed control and the connectivity feature, allowing you to change the speed. So they very quickly go through the different modes. So we've got an example. So here's a good example of what a machine would look like if it doesn't have the speed control unit. Then we've also got the paddle switch machines.
But if you want a paddle switch without a speed control unit, there you go. We've got one of those as well.
So that will be your P model, and then the one we obviously showed at the beginning, which is going to be your PSC, all the bells and whistles, paddle switch, speed control, and connectivity. So we've covered all the bases on the angle grinders, I think. However, there's one more machine that I think is really important to show. So
yes, I'll
you do that.
I'll pop these over here. We've mentioned it a few times before on the 18-volt live stream, but also on our metalworking live stream, I believe, quite some time ago. Base of the machine looks very similar to the other BITURBO machines, and that's basically because it is. It's a paddle switch grinder. It's the GWS 18V-180P. So P for paddle switch, GWS as it's a standard M14 fitment grinder. But on the front here, we have a 7-inch or 180mm cutting disc. The orientation of the grinder handle at the back here is set up mainly for cutting. So yeah, nice and comfortable machine. But the interesting part about this machine, its party piece, if you will, is the fact that the cutting depth on this machine is greater than the cutting depth on our 230mm.
Yeah, 9-inch
large angle grinders. So you've got 1500 watts of corded equivalent power, but running a small gearbox and a large disc, which gives you the best of both worlds.
That's right, yeah.
Really standout machine. This is well, it's a one-off as far as the range is concerned, isn't it?
That's right. You're looking at the RPM of 6,100, so plenty of rotations force. M14 standard. Anything else really? I mean, it doesn't really even weigh that much for equivalent. What you're basically getting is a large angle grinder. You know, less than 3 kilos per battery. It is. Man, if you're having to use a large angle grinder,
paving slabs, for instance, absolute dream with paving slabs.
Absolutely, yes. So again, we mentioned this before. We actually talked about it relatively recently in some of the new launches, because it's one of the newer machines to our range. But as a product, nothing else exists like it.
No.
So if you are in the market for a cordless 18-volt large angle grinder,
I think the large angle grinder is 69mm depth of cut. 61 and 63 for that one.
And 60.
I can't remember the figures.
Generally speaking, it's going to be. I think I've modelled my numbers.
Yes, you have. Yeah, you put me off.
59mm is the max depth of cut for the large angle grinder, and this is 61.
Yeah, and there's a 2mm difference. But
it's been a while since we've talked about
it.
Yes. So if you're in the market for something that performs like a large angle grinder, but you need it to be cordless, this is a really great option running on the 18-volt BITURBO range. Okay. Right, so we better hurry up a little bit, because I think we're going to spend too long in this live stream. I'm sure people are going to doze off if we spend too much time talking about angle grinders. Let's very quickly, and I mean very quickly, go through our SDS rotary hammer range. Okay, so the first one up is...
You've got them over there, I believe.
I have got them here, right, okay. Okay, so if you need to drill concrete, we're better than with a Bosch rotary hammer. We're better than using a BITURBO brushless rotary hammer. So what we've got here is our SDS Plus model, which is the GBH 18V-34 CF.
Yes.
Okay, let's go through the name quickly. Obviously, GBH, Bosch hammer, 18-volt, of course, BITURBO brushless. 34 is going to be the metric that we use to measure the maximum drilling diameter. This particular model is actually 32, just to trick you.
Yep.
It's connected, which has a connectivity module over here. Okay, and then the F means it has a removable chuck head, which means you can take this off and then you can swap it out
There you go.
for, say, for example, a 3-jaw chuck or the SDS chuck. Okay.
SDS Plus machine there.
Yes, SDS Plus, okay. 5.8 joules of pneumatic energy, okay. It has a no-load speed of 0, obviously, all the way up to 2,900 beats per minute, and sorry, a rotation speed of up to 500 RPM. Anything else? It's just about 5 kilos without battery, so not too bad. SDS Plus, as Danny's pointed out. Drilling diameters, again, you're looking at optimal range of about... well, drilling diameters from a minimum of 8-ish to that 32 millimeters, and it has an optimal drilling range of 12 to 30 millimeters. Yeah, but obviously it can do 32 millimeters. If that's all you're ever doing, you might want to step up to a slightly bigger machine, but this machine's got more than enough potential to run the majority of fixings we're doing in the UK, I can imagine. Anyway, when it comes to some of the feature sets, obviously it's got a 4-mode wheel on the top. Cuts the overhead very quickly for us, Ollie. You'll see. Overhead, please. Oh, the overhead died, is it? Oh, don't worry. No. We will fix the overhead, so don't worry. As always. Oh, it doesn't like it.
Tell you what. There you go.
Okay, so you've got the 4-mode wheel. You've got your reverse, forward, variable lock, so you can change the direction of orientation of a chisel, and then you can have it on purely hammer mode, right, for your point chisel work or your spade chisel work. Lovely. This machine, pop it in here, obviously featured kickback control, really useful feature on an SDS hammer, I can tell you that. You jam that in rebar, you don't want that spinning around.
Decoupled D-handle on the back there as well, so some vibration control built into the machine as well, obviously.
Nice, reduces it down to around just over 10 meters per second squared.
Yes.
So quite, for a machine of this weight category, that's quite nice vibration, so not too much hand and arm vibration. This machine comes with a control panel on the back here. Okay, nice green LED that tells you the status, battery gauge as well, and the ability to cycle through a number of features. Auto, just a machine running normally. Favorite is going to be the mode that you can program in via that Toolbox app, so you can customize performance and soft start. And then you have your standard default soft start, again, ramping up to that, about that 70% power when you start drilling. So it gives you a little bit more control when you're starting your application in concrete, so you're not going to slide along, slide around with the material. So nice easing. You've obviously got a variable speed trigger, so you can do all this yourself anyway, but that's a nice feature to have. And lastly, a little lock switch there, so you don't accidentally activate the machine. Really great product. So if you're in the market for a powerful SDS Plus machine, and you want to be able to drill up to a maximum of 32 millimeters in concrete, here we are, GBH 18V-34CF. Next machine. Right, I've got them all, so I'm going to pass them around. So if you need more power,
we have
you want to step up to SDS Max, then we've got this machine here.
GBH 18V-36C.
Okay, right, it's bigger. It's obviously more powerful. We're now moving up to 7 joules of pneumatic energy. We're going to maintain that same RPM, 500 RPM, with a BPM rate of 2,900, so fast and powerful performer, loads of dual chiseling power, drilling power. Interface is very simple, other than obviously now we've moved up to the SDS Max. It doesn't have a removable chuck on this particular model. This is just SDS Max. Has a vibration reduction, has the variable speed trigger, has the HMI, human machine interface, sorry. With the battery gauge, you can see this battery's a little bit lower on charge, but it's still green. Obviously this would change to amber very quickly, and then red once it's depleted, or if the machine's overheating. This machine has a little indicator on the back, but also very snappy kickback control as well. See the LEDs flashing on the front, and if I hold the trigger while spinning it around, you'll see the HMI is flashing as well. So all really great features that you expect from this machine.
Same vario lock on the top of the machine as well.
That's right, yes. Okay, so for your same 4-mode wheel. That's right. Yes. Okay. When it comes to vibration, still quite respectable. When you're chiseling, for example, it's about just over 10, just under 11 meters per second squared. So a nice amount of reduction again due to that decoupled handle here.
That's very similar to the 34, to be fair.
Not bad. Drilling capacities again is going up to a maximum of 35 millimeters for this one. Okay, tricking you a little bit in the name. Optimal range is between 14 and 35. So plenty of potential if you're wanting to do a little bit more compared to the 34. This is a great model for you. If you're running SDS Max bits, this is a good stage to upgrade to. Now, another machine, very quickly, is the GBH 18V-40C.
I often think this machine's a little overlooked in the shadow of its bigger brother that we talk about a little bit more often, but this is a fantastic machine. Yeah, all the power that you'd want in a slightly smaller package than the 45.
Yes, we'll get to that very shortly. So what you're looking at here now is you've stepped up the power, slightly bigger machine. You're now up to 9 joules of energy. Now the naming is correct on this one.
Yeah.
We're not lying. We're not fibbing to you now.
Yep.
This is a 40, so you get a maximum drilling diameter in concrete of 40 millimeters. It's connected like the other machine. This one has a completely decoupled, both top and bottom D handle.
Yep.
That means when you're chiseling, actually the vibrations down to 7.6 meters.
Really is a lot lower with that as well.
Improved, okay. And you'll also notice, if I show you the front, that the battery bay is slightly different. Now the battery bay is in this orientation, which really helps with that weight balance. So the battery is now much more forward, giving it moving the center of gravity more to this point, making it far more ergo and far more balanced when using it, which is good.
Yeah, I quite like these particular machines because they've obviously got the nice flat base to them. Means you can put them down nice and stable on a flat surface.
That's right.
You haven't got to put them on this side and maybe scuff them up a little bit. So you can keep these looking nicer for longer.
So obviously we said 9 joules of pneumatic energy, coming in roughly about that 7 kilo weight class. So really good potential, really good power to weight ratio. Okay, so when we are talking about drilling, we're talking 12 mil up to 40 mil. It's got a good optimal range about 18 to 32, but again, more than happy at working at 40. But if you do want to run a machine at that larger diameter all the time, then this last machine is going to be the one for you. I'll grab it.
You left this one on the floor, didn't you?
Yeah, it wouldn't fit on the shelves. It was too much of a unit. All right,
this is the one we talk about the most. This is the GBH 18V-45C. This is the one that benefits with that Procore plus 18 volt plus battery, that 71% longer run time. So again, some real performance benefits to be had from that newer uprated battery on this particular machine.
Okay, so what can I say about it other than yes, obviously 12.5 joules of pneumatic energy, very powerful, giving you that ability to drop to 45. Have you said all this already? I think you have, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, you can always say it again.
It
usually does.
I was thinking about something else at all. This is basically your corded equivalent of an 8 kilo machine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we talk about performance, this is a really good go-to machine because this is toe-to-toe with a corded 8 kilo machine.
Yeah, the GBH 8-45DV.
Exactly. But the point here is you're running on a single 18 volt battery against what is almost unlimited power coming out of the wall. We've got a little video that we'll show you later when we talk about why we think you should upgrade from a standard 18 volt to a bi-turbo machine. We'll come to that later. Okay, you see the battery orientation is exactly the same place as the 40. In fact, this machine came out before the 40. And you see again, helps with that power, that balance here. So 8 kilos doesn't feel as bad when the battery is here in its orientation. This machine really benefits from a 12 amp hour battery. As Danny pointed out, you get really great performance out of the Procore 18V plus 8 amp hour battery.
Funny enough, the 8 kilo corded hammer is slightly heavier than 8 kilo, and this is bang on 8 kilo. So this actually weighs, even with the battery, less than the corded equivalent. So.
That's right. Okay, so we're doing quite well. We knew this was going to be a long one. It's going to be a late one, but I think we should keep going. Before we go any further, obviously this machine has vibration control. It's really, really efficient when it comes to reducing HAZ because again, decoupled back handle, active passive or passive counterweight system in here, meaning you can reduce the vibrations down to as little as 7.3. So that's a lot less compared to some other machines.
It's a lot lower than actually some of the smaller machines that we have also in the bi-turbo range. So,
if you need a machine, if you need a machine drilling in concrete up to a maximum, which is huge, of 45 millimeters, then you want to maintain that cordless freedom, running an 18 volt battery platform, single 18 volt battery. This is the one you should pick. Right, okay, let's speed along. Okay, next machine we're going to have a look at, we're going to go to circular saws now,
you've got these ones up there as well.
Oh, I've got them all.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start off with this one here. All right. So I've changed the order, Ollie, so don't get surprised. Right, what we've got here, first circular saw is going to be the GKS 18V-68C.
See.
Okay, so this is a bi-turbo brushless circular saw. Maximum RPM of, well, so maximum cutting depth of 68 millimeters. Has a connectivity module as well, which is nice. You're running a 190 mil blade. Okay, these are excellent. These are standard for wood blades.
Yep.
Turn it around.
Watch your fingers.
Yeah, 190 mil, giving you that maximum cutting depth of 68 millimeters. These are optimized for cordless tools as well. They come as standard with this blade, which is a 24 tooth blade.
Yeah, narrow curve to get the most efficiency out of the battery as well. Remember, we were trying to save the capacity of the battery for usable use rather than dragging a wider blade through a cut. So.
Yep. You've got the basic controls that you'd expect. You've got the ability to bevel up to 50 degrees on the front of the machine here. Depth adjustment is on the back here, which you can just pick up here to adjust your cut all the way up to that maximum of 68 millimeters. Dust extraction port on the back, and obviously that inline dust extraction, so it's very efficient when you're doing it. Now, this is not a guide rail compatible machine. You do get a parallel guide as standard in the scope of delivery. This is your basic power rough cutting machine. If all you need is a cheap but powerful machine to do hard cuts of boards and stuff. Okay. Safety's on the side here, and then you've got your trigger. Okay. Works really, really well on, again, that Procore 18V plus battery to get that up to 22% more cut.
Exactly.
Okay, so that is our standard bi-turbo brushless circular saw. So if all you want is a basic rough machine to do it, this is what you can go with. The other option we've got is if you want just, again, that raw performance, but you want a blade on the left side, then we've given you an option. We've given you the GKS 18V-70L. Okay, so actually a depth of cut of 70 now, which is nice. And obviously it's the L, which means that the blade is on the left side. Okay, so there's quite a few people that have a different preference. They like to, a lot of right-handers like to have the blade on the left, but again, it's the kind of that US, UK thing where we have different preferences. Many people like to have it on this side.
Funnily enough, our first circular saw that we bought out in the cordless range had the blade on the left. So it's just going back to almost a legacy, really.
That's right, yeah. So as far as we're concerned, virtually the same machine. The only difference we made with this is we modified the dust extraction port. Okay, so we included the click and clean system. Okay.
I would imagine there's a rolling change on this one, to be fair,
well.
where that would have the same dust extraction.
Right.
Yeah.
And we also offered the additional opportunity of using a rafters hook, or a hook to hang it on your ladder as well, which is a customized kit that we had with this particular machine.
I'd be interested actually to know who uses the rafter hooks over here in the UK. I can't think of anything worse than hanging a circular saw off a rafter.
Yeah. At head height. What could go wrong? Yes. But so with the 70 series, obviously because this is quite heavily inspired by the American market, we added this as an optional accessory if that's what you want. It doesn't come as standard, but it's quite easy to attach if you want it.
It's literally just one set screw that goes through with the little nut on the other side.
That's right,
Dead
yes.
easy.
So we've now got a standard, when I say standard, now we've got a circular saw bi-turbo range giving you the 68 or 70 millimeter depth of cut in wood with either a left and right depending. However, the machine we haven't covered yet is a guide rail enabled one. So let's cover that very quickly and see if we get any questions. I've got to pop this back up gently because I don't want them falling on me.
There you go.
Okay,
Pop that one up there.
Last circular saw in the bi-turbo, well, not the last one, but the last.
No, the last circular saw.
Last circular
if you want to
saw.
be really pedantic about it.
I do.
You do.
The last circular saw in the bi-turbo range is my favourite circular saw, which is going to be the GKS 18V-68 again, but this time it's the GC. So this is your circular saw with a max depth of 68 millimeters in wood, but this is the guide rail compatible machine.
This one has all of the bells and whistles on it. Some really good features on this particular machine that make it stand out from the other ones, really.
Right, first off, you've got the ability to, I'll be honest, we probably should put an S in here because this is a speed control in every machine. So if I flip it around, you'll see on this side, we have our interface that allows us to cycle through different speed settings. Okay, 6 speed settings here, going from 2,500 RPM all the way up to the max RPM of 5,000. You also have your normal indication for the battery, as well as whether or not the machine is overheating. So a nice set of added features on this machine. Because it's a connected model, so GC. means that's what you're using, again, the connectivity module,
Yep.
to program those speed settings to whatever you want them to be.
Yeah. There's also an eco mode on there as well, isn't there?
That's right, yes. So if your battery's running a little low, you're not too bothered about time, or less bothered about time, but you really want to finish the cut without having to get another battery or put it on charge, put it on eco, lower the RPM, get you through that job, fine. Now, the difference that this machine has is the fact, obviously it's guide rail enabled, so the base plate itself will fit on our FSN guide rail system.
Yep.
So if you want more precision, as opposed to just raw cutting with the standard C models, this is the model you'll want. However, there's one feature here that I can't move on without talking about: the quick depth adjust. You see here on the top, push that up. Now you've got access to whatever depth you want to be cutting. Very quick.
Yeah.
Basically,
Really,
one-handed is.
really easy to see gauge in the back here as well. So nice and simple to work out exactly what cut height. Always remember, if you're using a guide rail, add 2 millimeters though, else you'll miss the cut. You always leave a little bit at the bottom.
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times. That's
I think
that's
we all
quite
both have.
embarrassing for me. I think everyone's done that.
Yeah.
Because I know that everyone else out there doesn't adjust their saw, and you're always max cutting. So yeah, save yourself a little bit of battery, and then make your blade last a little longer. Set your blade correctly, but compensate for that guide rail. Yes.
Speaking of blades, the last couple of machines we've looked at have got the expert blade on there as well. So yeah, very good quality blades there.
Okay, so let's swap out.
There you go.
All right, now we're going on to another saw, but it's not a circ saw technically. All right, we're on to a GKT 18V-52 GC. So, okay, this is your track saw, but really we like to refer to it as the plunge saw. Okay, 52 millimeters max depth of cut.
Yep.
Okay, a little less because it's running a 140 mil blade, but 52 millimeters should be more than enough for everyone. The majority of applications out there, you know, standard.
Worktops, that sort of thing. Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, guide rail.
Definitely floorboards as well. These are used quite a lot for floorboards.
So G, guide rail compatible, as you'll expect for a plunge/track saw. Connectivity, again, to give you a lot of functionality when it comes to the machine itself. The ability to customize the speed settings from between 2,800 up to the maximum of 5,500 RPM. Okay, you've got again, the depth adjustment. Oh, it's so smooth. Really smooth. Honestly, every time we show people that, you have to feel it to believe it, to feel how smooth that plunge action is.
Yeah.
Okay?
On the back here, you can see there's also the lock here for locking out the maximum plunge depth as well. So if you're plunging into a floorboard, for instance, providing you can measure the depth of the floorboard, you're not going to cut anything into anything below the floorboard. So yeah, it gives you that extra ability to limit that. The side of the machine here is 10 millimeters from the blade. So you know that you can cut right up to 10 millimeters to, say, your wall without any worries there at all. There's indicators in the front and the back of the blade as well. So if you are plunge cutting into a work surface, for instance, you know where the blade's going to drop at any one time.
That's right. You can actually bevel this machine from 0 to 47, but you can also do a -1 cut as well by pressing this button. So if you want to undercut a little bit, you can by 1 degree. You notice the battery fitment is slightly different to the circular saw, so it fits on the side there.
It's nice and
compact.
nice and compact. It's all inbound there. So
but it's virtually in line with the entire base, but it's slightly over here. So it's a really nice compact package. Anything else? Nope. Six speeds and an eco mode.
Yep.
In fact, if I cut to the close-up camera, maybe you'll actually see an example, because this is one that we know we've programmed. And you see that the 3 is in blue, so that means I know that that is a custom speed setting that I've set via the Toolbox app. A little tip for those who haven't noticed in the past. Okay, so really lovely saw. Again, we can't spend too much time talking about it. If you want to see more about this, feel free again to check out the 18-volt live stream. But from a top-line perspective, you need a track saw, plunge saw, bi-turbo performance up to the maximum depth of cut, 52 millimeters. Perfect. Good machine.
Yeah.
Right, okay, right, so the next machines we're going to go on to actually are too big to fit in the room.
Yes.
Oh, actually, no, before we talk about machines that are too big to fit in the room, got Ella frantically waving, saying you guys are asking some questions. So let's cut to those first.
PF Cutters has asked, when will we get a bi-turbo worm drive circular saw the size of the GKS 18-volt 70L? And Stuart has also said he's wanted a worm drive saw for a long time.
Right, well, okay. I want to ask the question to you guys to come back. We'll answer the question, of course.
Yes.
But I would love to know why you guys specifically want a worm drive machine. Is it just because the handle's longer, or is it the drive mechanism that you actually seek? Mm-hmm. To answer the question, are we bringing out a worm drive saw? Can we answer that? I don't know.
It's a difficult one to answer.
Should we say that people have noticed that people are asking for it?
Yes.
Now, read that as you will.
Mm-hmm.
People have noticed, which means obviously there may or may not be plans to develop such a machine. However, when is that? I don't know.
No.
There's quite a lot of effort to fill out the range when it comes to our circular
Put it this
saws.
way, I'm with you guys when it comes to worm drive. I've used them in the past and I find them very much more comfortable when it comes to the larger base plate and just the comfort and usability of the machines.
I mean, is this the equivalent of like a D-handle hammer?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Saying just less bending, better, longer reach of the machine, more ability to control it with one hand, I guess, isn't it? Trust me, Bosch is obviously a global market. The American market would insist upon it, I'm sure.
Yep.
We're very similar in the UK, and we get a lot of questions asked about a worm drive or worm drive style machine.
Yeah. I think the defining factor is going to be if people in the UK will buy it.
Yeah.
I think, to be fair.
That's fine, yeah.
I think there'll probably definitely be one in America because they use worm drives an awful lot out there, and I understand why. But it's all down to people wanting it in the UK as to whether it's bought here.
So
but then again, the world's a small place. You can import things from all over the world now, so who knows? Keep an ear to the ground when it comes to social media.
That's right. So that was the second question, wasn't it? Did we answer the first one as well, Ella? I can't remember.
No, that was only one question.
Oh, it was one question.
Someone else said they'd also been waiting for
that was
a
it. They both wanted the
worm
worm drive machine, yeah. Well, fingers crossed that those rumours become real. But we haven't seen anything per se. Okay.
And last question for now. Someone said a cut-off saw with water dust suppression would be really good in the biturbo range.
Concrete cut-off saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's just say maybe I had a meeting today that might have discussed some products that might involve certain machines. Who knows?
We have to have a meeting because I found out something today that he doesn't know, which I'll tell him about later.
I know it all. I just
No, he does.
Okay, so yes, biturbo brushless cut-off saw. Yeah, that's a very, very important machine that is currently not in the portfolio, but it's obviously so important that we cannot ignore it. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I have got a question because I do know the machine he's talking about now.
Okay, last question, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to talk about some other big machines. They're too big to bring into the studio itself. So Danny and I decided earlier that we would just pre-record a small segment on our biturbo brushless benchtop machine. So let's cut to that now. Okay, so in the room behind us, we have the entire range of our professional 18-volt range of miter saws. These are all our GCM 18Vs running on either the Procore 18V Plus battery or the standard Procore 18V. The name GCM stands for the Professional Compound Miter Saws.
Yes, we've got a whole range of machines here. We have 3 of the 8-inch miter saws, the 216mm ones. We have a single 254mm or 10-inch sliding miter saw. And we also have the big one here, just next to us here, is the 12-inch or 305mm one.
So let's start off with the entry-level machine, working our way up to the flagship model here. Okay, let's start off with what is essentially our entry-level machine. Now, technically, as of the filming of this video, this machine has been discontinued. However, there's still plenty of these out in the market, and this makes for an excellent cost-effective machine that still has a lot of power. This is the GCM 18V-216.
So 216 in the naming of the product refers to the diameter of the blade, so 216mm, or in old money, 8 inches. Now the specs of this machine are actually pretty good. So we've got a miter gauge on the front of the machine, goes from 47 degrees left miter and 47 degrees right miter. So quite an impressive swing there for a machine so small. And when it comes to bevel, we bevel to the left only, as this is a single bevel machine, to 45 degrees. So really a great all-rounder product.
That's right. When it comes to the cutting diameter, it is 70mm max depth of cut, and the cross-cut capacity of this is 270mm. Now, the cutting capacity will vary depending if you are mitering or beveling or a combination of both. However, if you have that at its maximum miter of 47 degrees, you're going to get a max depth of cut still of 70mm, but a cross-cut capacity of 190mm. And if you've got that fully over in the maximum bevel of 45 degrees, then you're looking at a max depth cut of 45mm, but you still maintain that maximum cross cut of 270mm. The machine is nice and compact, and because it is lightweight, we obviously include a nice little carry handle because the machine on its own is under 15 kilos.
Really is actually quite easy to carry single-handedly, basically.
All the controls, well, the controls for the miter is obviously at the front here, allowing you to loosen this and then swing the arm around to whatever miter angle you would like. And in regards to the bevel function, Danny can indicate there at the back.
Yep. We've got a lever at the back here. It's simple, just turn it around about 20 to 30 degrees, loosens that off, and then you can bevel all the way over to the 45 degrees. There. Lock that off. In position, and there away you go.
That's right. In addition, this machine has a trenching function capability. It's easy to engage it like that, and then you can fine tune the depth of your trench cut using this small adapter here, or sorry, adjuster here. Okay, if we look at the back of the machine, you can see we have our click and clean dust extraction port, so you can attach that to any of your M-class corded or cordless dust extractors.
So this machine actually comes with a dust bag as well. Now, for best results, you're going to be wanting to fit an extractor to that. We'd recommend an M-class dust extractor, especially for use with wood fibres. Now, when it comes to the blade fitted to the machine, as standard, this is a narrow curved blade to get the most out of the 1600 watts corded equivalent power out of this tiny machine. And of course, if you're fitting a narrow blade, you need to have a laser that's adjustable as well. So it gives you an idea, you can actually change the kerf of the blade, you can actually adjust the laser slightly to actually spot on cut every time. Okay, let's look at battery fitment. So if we swing the arm around, you'll see that the Procore battery fits on the machine here. This machine being bi-turbo will obviously still work with any of our cool pack batteries, but benefits best from using a Procore 18V or 18V plus battery of 5.5 and above. That's going to release that 1600 watts corded equivalent power. So in summary, you can see that the GCM 18V-216 is still an excellent machine. However, let's have a look at its successor. So the next machine we've got on the list here is the GCM 18V-216D. The D in the name denotes the fact that this is a dual bevel sliding miter saw. In fact, we've not just upgraded for a dual bevel machine here, we've also upped the specs when it comes to miter angles. So miter angles on this particular machine, we have 48 degrees to the left and 48 degrees to the right. And when it comes to bevel from the top, we also have 47 degrees to the left and 47 degrees to the right. So in fact, we've upped the specs across the board when it comes to this particular machine. Yeah, with more angles, we've actually included more power as well. It still retains that maximum cutting capacity of 70mm. However, we've got a much larger cross-cut capacity here of 305mm. When we look at its maximum cutting capacity when in its maximum miter capacity of 48mm, we're looking at still that 70mm depth of cut. However, we have a slightly reduced width of cut of 250mm, still very respectable, however. And then when we're using the machine in its maximum bevel angle of 47 or 47 left or right, then we're looking at 42mm max depth of cut, but retaining that maximum cross-cut capacity of 305mm. You'll see on the back of the machine, it also retains, as you'd expect, a click and clean dust extraction system. So there's also been some improvements made here on the actual base of the machine. So not only have you got your standard material supports, which are adjustable, you also have these blocks that come with the machine. Now, additional ones of these can be purchased. They simply come off like that, and you can stack them against each other to make your material stop a lot longer. In addition to that, you can actually fit them to the side of the blade trench here. So you can actually quite easily support larger material or even a flat sheet. So I actually mirror what Danny said there. These material blocks really help with stability, and we include 2 of those as standard to mix and match wherever you want them on the machine. So if we pop the block off, however, and swing the machine around, you'll see that the battery is located on this side of the machine. You see that the orientation is slightly different compared to the previous model, and you'll see that the motor we've got here, the bi-turbo brush
The biturbo brushless motor here is nice and compact, so it's nice and small when packing that down and bringing it into the van or having this in your workshop. Again, because it's compact, comes with a nice carry handle. This machine weighs, again, just under 17 kilos, around 16 kilos, so an easy one-person lift. Especially useful if you're needing to carry this around site or if you're going up and down stairs and working in lofts and stuff. It's a really great 8-inch sliding miter saw.
So before we move on to the next machine, if I flip the machine around there and drop that up, you can see here we have the normal trench cut as you'd expect to find on these machines. So fully adjustable with a lock nut on here, allows you to get the perfect trench depth every time you cut. And actually quite impressively on here, this machine comes with, fitted as standard, an expert for wood blade. So really top quality blade, highest quality in fact that we do. Perfect finish, fast cuts, keeps its keenness for a long time.
So now before we finish talking about this particular product, I'd like to talk about just two minor functions. One of them is how we've changed the adjustment on the bevel action. As opposed to using a lever, which can get lost and you have to reach around the machine to find it, we've changed that to a nice wide adjustment wheel, which you loosen, make your adjustments to bevel and then tighten it back down again.
Exactly, just above that you've got a lockout for 90 degrees, so just pull that out, give it a little bit of a twist, undo the knob, and away you go. You've got full access to the whole 47 degrees and 47 degrees, so full swing there.
Okay, and then finally to complete this machine, we've also included a work light and a dual beam laser.
So what's up next?
Let's have a look. Okay, now we're on to the third and final 8-inch miter saw. This is the GCM 18V-216 DC. The DC stands for dual bevel, but also connectivity.
So again, we've got some really good specs on this particular machine. The miter angle to the left is 52 degrees and to the right, 60 degrees. And when we're talking about bevel, it's 47 degrees left and 47 degrees right.
Yeah, I'd argue that this is probably the flagship model when it comes to the 8-inch sliding miter saws. When it comes to the cutting capacity, as it is an 8-inch machine, it also has the standard cutting capacity of 70mm depth. The cross-cut capacity here is 300mm, and when it comes to its cutting capacity when mitering at its maximum angle, we're looking at a depth of cut of 65mm with a cross-cut capacity of 214mm. And then finally, when we are a maximum bevel of, was it again, Dan? It was 47, wasn't it?
47.
47 degrees. Then we're looking at a maximum depth of cut of 45mm, and you've still got the entire cross cut of 300mm. So a really great machine. We made a comment about the fact that this is a connected model, but we also should mention the fact that this also has a variable speed as well.
Yes, 3 speeds on this particular machine and an eco mode as well. All of those are fully adjustable as per the RPM via the Toolbox app.
That's right, you're looking at the lowest RPM from the default on the machine of 2,500 RPM up to the maximum the machine can output, which is 4,500 RPM. So you've got a lot of versatility and that usability, customizability.
That makes it perfect for cutting softer materials as well.
Okay, because this machine is a one-person lift, because it is only 15 kilos, we've got a nice little carry handle here, which is again, just like some of the other machines, really useful if you're working alone and you're trying to move this up and down stairs, for example.
As you'd expect, we've got dust extraction built into the machine. This, in fact, is a dual port system. So we have an upper extraction hose here and a lower one down at the back, just here, to collect the maximum amount of material that we can. Yeah,
in addition, you'll notice that the actual extraction port doesn't move here. So you've got this, essentially a small hose, which means when you're using the miter saw back and forth, don't have to run the risk of the dust extraction port being pulled out or whatever. So it's a fixed point, so it's a nice additional feature.
Yeah, click and clean, of course, and also friction fit as well. So the friction fit nozzle can be pushed into the back.
Okay, and now finally, just to finish off this machine, let's have a look at the interface on it. You'll see that there's 2 buttons. You've obviously got your speed mode button to cycle through those presets, those 4 presets that Danny talked about, and also the fact that you can also customize those preset speeds to whichever you want. We'll have the speeds of 3, 2, 1, and then you've got the eco mode here if you are running a little low on battery power or if you just want to save power. Yeah. On the other side here, we have the ability to toggle the lights on and off, as well as that dual beam laser.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll find this comes with a standard for wood blade. However, a perfect upgrade for this machine would be to go for the same expert for wood blade that we had on the previous machine.
Yeah. Okay, we've done the 8-inch miter range. Let's move on to 10-inch. So the name of this machine is the GCM 18V-254D, 254mm, or in old money, 10-inch.
So not only do we have a larger blade on this machine, we've got pretty substantial mitre angles and bevels on this as well. So 48 degrees to the left, 48 degrees to the right on mitre, and for bevel, we've got 47 degrees left, 47 degrees right.
As you can imagine, larger blade means larger or deeper depth of cut as standard. So we're looking at 90mm depth of cut. The cross-cut capacity of this machine is 305mm. When working in your maximum mitre, for example, of that 48mm, we're looking at same 90mm depth of cut, but obviously the slightly shorter 215mm cross-cut. And when you're working with your maximum bevel angle, you're looking at a maximum depth of cut of 55mm and that cross-cut capacity of 305mm. The machine doesn't have multiple speeds, but it still has that really effective 4,500 RPM.
So this particular machine is built on a similar platform to the GCM 18V-216D that we looked at previously, the middle of the range 8-inch mitre saw that we have. Now, the adjustment mechanism for the bevel angles is very, very similar. We have a lock button at the top here to lock at 90 degrees, and we also have that wheel at the back here to unlock, gives you the bevel angle on the top of the machine.
Similar to the 8-inch machines, this is still very ideal for those who want to have a mobile solution for a mitre saw. We have a carrier handle here, and because the machine is under 18 kilos at 17.7 kilograms, then this is a straightforward single man lift. Again, really useful if you're needing to use this machine up and down stairs or in places, again, at height where you don't have any power.
Yes, and if I flip the machine round to the side here, you can see we also have a dual laser and a light built into this as well. So bundles of features on this particular model.
Okay, so in summary, you can see here with the GCM 18V-254D, you've got an excellent compact machine, but when you need the extra cutting capacity of a maximum of 90mm, this would be the machine I'd go for. Okay, so now we're here with our flagship machine. This is the GCM 18V-305GDC. So quite a lot to unpack there. First off, 305, this is a 12-inch glide mitre saw. So the G here stands for glide mitre arm.
So on the back here, little lever, flip that down and unlocks the glide arm. So the benefits of the glide arm is the fact that you can have this machine right back up against the wall. So you haven't got to make space for the sliding rods that you do on all of the other ones in the range. So really compact machine, gives you much more of your workshop space back.
That's right. Not only that, it's obviously very robust and very accurate as well. So the glide arm is a real USP when it comes to our professional mitre saws. The D in this name structure stands for the fact that it's dual bevel, as you'll expect. And then finally C means this is a connected product, which we'll talk about later.
So when we're talking about the mitre and bevel figures on this particular machine, 52 degrees to the left, 62 degrees to the right when it comes to the mitre. And when it comes to bevel angles, 47 degrees and 47 degrees. So again, similar specs to the previous machine, but we're talking about much bigger depth of cut on this machine.
That's right, exactly. And one of the other advantages of this machine is the fact that all the controls to adjust mitre and bevel are all on the front of the machine.
Exactly. There's no reaching around for the back of the machine trying to undo knobs or adjust the machine. It's all right there at the front. Simple unlocking lever gives you all of the mitre adjustment and a little button on the other side. Flip that over, gives you the bevel adjustment to the right hand side as well. So everything at the front.
Right, because we're dealing with a large 12-inch or 305mm blade, obviously that means you've got far better cutting capacity. As standard, it has a 104 by 341 depth of cut. So massive 104mm depth of cut.
Yeah, that's railway sleeper territory. That's honestly really, really larger pieces of wood.
Yeah, if you utilise a spacer, you can actually get the maximum depth of cut up to 120mm. Or if you're wanting width of cut, again, using a spacer means you can get up to a maximum of 400mm. So it's a very versatile tool if you need it to cut large capacities. In its maximum mitre angle, it's still going to have that 104mm depth of cut with a slightly reduced width of cut of 240mm. And then finally, it fits at its maximum bevel angle. You've got a maximum depth of cut of 45mm, but you're still retaining that standard 341mm width of cut. Yeah. So a really, really powerful yet versatile machine. We're getting 2,000 watts of corded equivalent performance out of this machine, but running only on a single Procore 18-volt battery. So really great.
In fact, when it comes to dust extraction, as you'd expect, single dust port on the back here, but look at the size of the opening here that is drawing that material in from. So the dust extraction on this is pretty good actually. I mean, there's always going to be some dust on a miter saw because of the way that they work, but this collects the vast majority of it. So really positive design feature there.
So Dan, if you could swing the arm around, I want to show everyone the controls as well as the interface panel. You can see here we've got a nice ergonomic handle with a safety switch that you could easily articulate with your thumb and then use your other fingers to activate the machine. You'll see here on the interface screen we've got our human machine interface, our control panel, the nice coloured LED, and you can see I can cycle between those 4 speed settings, 1, 2, 3, and that eco mode. That gives you a RPM, the lowest RPM of 2,250 all the way up to the maximum of 4,000. And because this is a connected product, that also means you can modify those 3 speed settings to whatever you'd like, depending on what material you're cutting.
So if we talk about accessories, you won't be surprised to find that on here we have an expert for wood blade. Again, best blade for the best cut on this particular machine. 12-inch blade as well, so this is quite a formidable piece of kit. Also, you can get in the range other multi-material blades, PVC, that sort of thing. So there's a whole range of blades that you can fit to this machine as well, even aluminium. In fact, what better way to show you than actually do a cut now?
Okay, so the demonstration Danny is going to perform here is dealing with 100mm depth of wood. This is pine, but obviously this machine is more than capable in dealing with any kind of hardwood. We'll be using the blade that you get with the machine, which is an excellent expert for wood blade. We're running dust extraction, and in this particular example, we're going to do it in a single cut. So you will see that the dust extraction isn't going to be optimal, but what we want to show really is the performance of this machine cutting in a single pass. So, Danny, over to you, mate. So as you can see, the machine has more than enough power to cut through that in a single pass. Obviously, typically you'd probably want to take multiple passes for both dust extraction, but also you might want to do that for the machine and battery capacity. But again, we know what you guys are like out there. You want to get the job done quickly. This machine, with its 2,000 watts of corded equivalent performance, more than capable in doing this all day long.
Believe you me, hardwood, we've got oak beams here that we regularly cut. We use this machine. Absolutely fantastic at it.
Right, okay, so you can see that this machine running up to 2,000 watts of corded equivalent performance, running on a Procore 18V Plus battery in this case, but again, designed for any Procore 18V battery. More than enough power to do these kinds of application day in, day out. The machine itself is a little bit on the heavier side, just being under 27 kilos. So I would always recommend that this is a 2-person lift. However, you can see that it's on one of our gravity rise systems. This is the GTA 2500W. Okay, so this is a really good solution for moving this machine around on site. Anything else we can add, Dan?
Just the glide arm really on this, really standout feature on this particular model. One of the only ones out there on the market, in fact. Again, really good if you're pressed for space in your workshop environment or in the back of a van. It's just for storage, for travelling.
Absolutely, yeah. So really proud to have the GCM 18V-305 GDC in the range. It's an amazing flagship. If you can afford it, if you need that kind of performance, then this machine, as well as the gravity rise, an excellent solution. Okay, let's move on. So hopefully you enjoyed that quite long segment when we talk about well, what's happening? Well, we're having one of those funny days, aren't we, where all the technical issues are all coming out for the special, I'm sure. I hope you can still hear us as it slowly catches up. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, we're good. Okay, so we're back to normal now. Yeah. You can see the problem here, guys, is the fact that there's just so much information that YouTube can't handle the sheer amount of knowledge that we're giving you right now. Right, okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that section on our miter saws. I don't know if anyone had any difficult questions while that section was playing, Ella?
Not really any questions. People said the glide arm is a must, and Gavin said if the glide arm feature filtered down to a smaller machine, that may well play apart from my money, as I only do a small trim work in tight spaces.
That would be good for an 8-inch.
Yeah, that would be, yes, exactly.
For smaller.
I would like to see that. I haven't seen anything in the mix for it yet. A lot of it's going to be cost, I'd imagine.
Well, with the 8-inch saws, obviously they're a smaller machine and they're portable and mobile. The glide arm system does take a little bit of weight, so obviously it has to be manufactured to a degree where it's not going to bend when you're actually using the machine. So Yeah.
Yeah, but that, like, look,
But it's a possibility.
that
Definitely.
that 12-inch sliding miter saw, glide miter saw, sorry, right? So the GCM 18V-305 GDC. I love demonstrating that because that is such a powerful machine. But and we use it all the time in the workshop because it's there and we can. But I can imagine that most of the time I don't need it. I don't need that cutting capacity. It's massive. It's 120 millimeters by 400 with spacers.
Yes.
So plenty of cross cut and max depth of cut. In fact, I'll be honest with you. I'll be happy to be honest. There's so much max depth of cut that the dust extraction can't handle.
Exactly. Very
Right?
true.
So that's always so it's a compromise there. But 9 times out of 10 for the jobs that we do around the workshop when we're not trying to like shock and awe, the 8 inches do more than enough depth of cut.
Yeah.
You know? But trust me, we're not doing construction work obviously, but the 8 and even the 10-inch does a lot of lifting when you don't need to go all the way up to the 12. But we use the 12 because it's there. It's always there, ready to go.
Yeah.
A question for those in the chat is, how many people out there are interested or have purchased or are thinking about purchasing the 10-inch, so the 254 model? Because that's an interesting one for us because we took a bit of a gamble bringing that model to the UK because we weren't sure. The UK is very much an 8-inch model market. And then obviously people that want the capacity of the 12 want that too.
Yeah.
And obviously we brought out the 10-inch to facilitate those who are looking for that 90 mil depth of cut. So let us know in the chat whether or not you're that kind of person, and let us know whether or not, well, maybe there's anything else you would like. Again, maybe you just want those glide arms on the 10-inch as well.
To be fair, the 12 does look pretty flashy on site as well, I have to be said.
Every time we demonstrate the gravity rise system, which is obviously available for any of the models, but it suits the 12-inch perfectly. Every time we demonstrate the gravity rise, I think we make a sale.
Yeah.
Because they're already sold on the 12-inch machine, the glide.
It's just the icing on the cake, isn't it? Really?
Absolutely. Right, okay, so when it comes to benchtop, there's one more machine that we'd like to look at. So we're going to just quickly cut to one more little video talking about our bi-turbo brushless table saw. So let's cue that one up, Ollie. Okay, so this is the final bi-turbo brushless woodworking benchtop tool that we've got in the range. This is the GTS 18V-216 Professional table saw, giving you a maximum depth of cut of 70 millimeter in wood.
So this has an extendable bed length all the way out to 635 millimeters, meaning you can rip down large material quite quickly with this particular machine. Not to mention down here we have the bevel angle over to 45 degrees, so it enables you to do long bevel cuts very accurately with it.
The machine runs at a maximum no load speed of 4,500 RPM, so it's very progressive when working in any kind of material up to that maximum depth of cut of 70 millimeters. If you are wanting to use this machine for miters, we also supply a miter gauge here as well.
There you go. And there's 2 T-slots on this, one either side of the blade, so it allows you to use again, the miter gauge on either side there, depending on the size of the material you're cutting.
Right. As you'd expect, we also supply a push stick prodder. Okay, so obviously we're working safely, and you'll notice the guard also is a split guard.
This is a much safer guard system than our previous solid Perspex guards. They have to be see-through. Again, if you're cutting large material or smaller material down the side here, this allows you to split the guard but keep half of the blade covered, so far safer than having the full guard.
In regards to the accessories, you'll also notice that we have ample storage around the sides of the machine here, which means that everything that you see on top, all the accessories you want, the guard, the miter, the fence, these can all be stored within the perimeter of the actual product itself.
Yeah, very compact machine with this when it's all packed up. Not to mention on the front here, we have a simple on-off switch, so it's pull on, and then in the case of anything happening, you can literally knock it off with your knee, your hand, any part of your body that's free to do so. In addition, at the top of the switch here, there's a hole which allows you to padlock the switch. So again, another sort of security feature built into that switch as well.
Yeah. So we've mentioned the fact that it's quite a nice, small, compact machine. At 21.6 kilograms, it's not particularly heavy either. So this is an easy one-man lift. It's got a little side handle on Danny's side there, so you can have the machine in one hand, and you can have either the fold-out stand, the GTA 560, in the other hand, so you can quite easily move around side. Or you can see here it's on the GTA 60W gravity rise with the wheels and the folding mechanism similar to the system that you saw with the 305 miter saw previously. So you've got great options on you've got great options on how you'd like to transport this device around.
So for dust extraction on the rear of the machine, you can see here we've got a large port, click and clean, and also push fit adapter as well, gives you the maximum amount of connectivity when it comes to our dust extractor range.
So in summary, you can see here with the GTS 18V-216, if you're in the market for a nice, powerful, compact, but portable 18-volt table saw, we've got a really great solution for you. So hopefully, again, you enjoyed that small section in regards to our GTS table saw. I think we might actually had a question already, all right?
Yep. So PF Cutter said, will a 305mm or 12-inch bi-turbo brushless table saw be coming out?
A little bit, I was saying, a bit ambitious, go all the way up to the 12-inch table saw. I think a logical step would be going up to something like a 10-inch.
Yep.
Because obviously the current one we've got, or the one you just saw, is an 8-inch, giving you a maximum depth of cut of 70.
I don't think we've ever done a 12-inch table saw. No, with the
we have
max.
a mains,
Yep.
10-inch.
Yeah, the 10X and the 10J.
And I think there's a good chance that we might be bringing a new mains, maybe even, I think it's a brushless machine.
Yes.
Brushless machine giving you quite a good depth of cut. I can't remember if it's 10 or 8-inch.
I think it was 10.
But it gives you over 100 mil. Now, because the American market's got that. It's got rack and pinion. It's a really nice table saw. Okay. It would be nice to have an equivalent of that.
Yeah.
In 18 volt, I think.
Yeah.
Turbo.
That was it was a 10. Yeah, 100% 10 on that.
Exactly. To answer your question, not yet. Maybe in the interim, we might bring out a 10. I really feel like I know that there is a new table saw coming. I really think there is.
It's to replace one of the old models that we have.
18 volt.
Oh, 18 volt.
Yes.
Again, I was not included in these meetings. I need to have a word. Yeah. Need to have a word.
But if I'm being honest, I don't think it's a massive. I think it might just be an incremental update. It's definitely not moving up to 10-inch, not yet.
Oh right, okay.
Yes, yeah. So they might be modifying or updating the one you just saw, but that's still a way off. So don't get too excited. That machine that you just saw, Danny uses it all the time. I use it as well. It's actually much more precise than I would expect. Obviously, it's a rough sight saw. Yeah. For
it's based off the cordless version, the corded version of it. All of the specs are exactly the same. The accessories parking away is exactly the same as the corded version. Yeah. The 21665635.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if I'm being honest with you, I mean, yes, it doesn't. It has just a more rudimentary fence. Obviously, it doesn't have the rack and pinion, which is obviously better. I'll be honest with you. But for a simple, lightweight design, it can. And if you're willing just to pay a little patience to making sure it's nice and accurate when you're measuring, I'm really impressed with the accuracy of that table saw.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't. We're not saying it's a precision machine, but it is very precise.
Yeah. I mean, that one doesn't come with a expert blade as standard, but I think the one we showed in the video has it because I put it on there.
Why not?
Fantastic. I mean, it's been on there for what, 2 years now, maybe more. It's not showing any signs of wear.
And
Still works perfectly.
Danny's not nice to it.
No, well, no.
There's all kinds of stuff that's gone through that. I've seen bits of plastic that's gone through that. Not the dedicated blade, but it's such a good blade that it can handle a lot that you throw at it. Like Danny pointed out there, if you have any of our bi-turbo machines, especially some of the circular saws that you looked at earlier, or that we showed you, upgrading from the standard blade, especially on the 68s, okay, the 68Cs, upgrading that to the expert blade, it's a really good improvement in both efficiency and also cutting performance is so good.
Oh yeah.
So good. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a little bit of an interlude before we get back to the tools. And I'm really happy if you guys are still watching. If the live stream's too long, don't worry. After the live stream's finished, and Danny and I go back, have some dinner at some point in our respective houses.
In our PS.
Once we are finished with the obviously it's going to become a normal video, and I'm sure that you can break it down because there's a lot to cover. But as an interlude, what we want to do very quickly is we want to talk about why you would want to upgrade to any of the 18-volt machines. We haven't finished the range yet, but obviously standard 18-volt, good power tools. I mean, they do a lot of good work for you, running on the cool pack batteries, or even upgrading with the Procore 18-volt batteries on a standard 18-volt machine. That's fine. It'll do a lot of work for you. But why would you want to upgrade, or when would you want to upgrade to a bi-turbo brushless machine? Well, if it's me, it depends on 2 factors. Whether or not your standard 18-volt machine just doesn't have the power or the cutting capacity to do what you need, okay? Look at the circular saws, for example. That's a great option if you need more depth of cut. You have to upgrade, right? That's fine. But now you have the option of having a machine with loads of performance, but staying on a cordless system.
We've done a couple of events recently where we've let users actually use, for instance, the 12-inch miter saw, but not told them that it was cordless, and they really can't tell.
Yeah, they did. They were.
genuinely
We have to tell
surprised.
them to remind them, and then they're like, they wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah.
The other reason you might want to upgrade from a standard 18-volt machine, and you might not be cutting material that's too big or too deep for your current 18-volt machine, well, then the other option is you want to be so much faster.
Yeah.
So biturbo brushless really gives you extra power, even if the material itself is still within the capability of your standard 18-volt machines. Good examples we've got to show is things like the Combi and the circular saws. Now, we've got two videos that we'd like to play. We'll just probably, Danny and I will talk over it. The first one we'd like to show you is the benefits of upgrading from a standard 18-volt circular saw to a biturbo brushless circular saw. So let's run the video, Ollie. So the two machines we're going to show, first one is going to be this machine here, which is going to be, let's have a look, this one here. So this is the GKS 18V-57. This is the generation 1 actually, so the older machine. Now we're going to run a standard cool pack battery because that's what it's designed to run. And then we're going to go up against this one, okay, and this one is going to be the GKS 18V-68. Oh, is this the GC? It might be the GC, or it might just be the C.
No, that's the GC. Yeah.
Top machine is 18 volt, bottom is biturbo.
Both using expert blades, so we've leveled the playing fields there, but you can really see the difference between the two there.
It would have been nice if
different.
Mate, if I ran dust extraction on the top one, it would be nicer and cleaner, but I don't think I would have been cutting anywhere, I wouldn't be cutting much faster.
No.
Right, so I think it's night and day, to be honest. You can see left and right, the performance benefit of that biturbo brushless saw, meaning really quick cuts in the same depth. It's a night and day. So, all right, there's your benefit there. If you want speed, biturbo brushless is the way. Now, we've got another example again to show the difference between 18-volt standard, Flagship, however. You know, the machine we'll show you in a minute is Flagship, and our biturbo brushless Combi. So let's run this video. So we're going to run the GSB 18V-110C. That was our Flagship standard 18-volt machine. Against our biturbo brushless, the 150C.
Yeah, you may think that's not too big a difference, considering, well, it's only 40 Newton meters of additional torque. But when it comes to actually driving through materials of the size that we actually did in this video, it really does stand out, the benefits of a biturbo. Now
we're running the same battery on both, so we're running Procore 18V batteries on both. So we're leveling the playing field. It's the same accessory. I think it was a 28mm auger. This is the standard 18 volt, the 110, okay, in speed 2. It just hasn't got the beans. And that's the incorrect gear for that machine. Right, this is the 150 in speed 2, okay, easy. So the 110 ECP kicked in, stopped the machine from running. Now here's your comparison with the machine working as it should. The one on the bottom is running in gear 1. The biturbo brushless is in speed 2. You've got so much torque, even in speed 2, that I'm done and dusted. I could drill 4 or 5 holes in the time it takes. A really good machine. The 110 is an excellent standard 18-volt machine. That's why it was the Flagship. But you can see the biturbo brushless is so much faster. So again, there's some really great examples of why, if performance is the most important thing, if you want to get done and dusted and home for dinner, then a biturbo brushless machine really helps productivity, without a doubt.
100%.
Right, last video before we get back into the products is we want to have a quick talk about the whole point behind the biturbo brushless. The main aim that we at Bosch, what we wanted to achieve is we wanted to give you cordless power tools with the performance of a mains machine. That was always the mission, with cordless tools, okay?
With just one battery.
Yes, one battery. We obviously did it in the past with our 36-volt range. However, we've obviously made it possible on that single 18-volt battery, the Procore 18V batteries. So the comparison I'm going to show you in a minute is to do with our 8-kilo hammers. We showed you with the, the 45, okay, the GBH 18V-45. Now, the benefit here is you've basically got a machine that is running to the equivalent performance as an 8-kilo. We've talked about it earlier in the live stream, okay? This machine is the same specs on paper compared to the GBH
845 DV.
When it comes to weight, they're roughly the same. The biturbo machine is a little lighter, 9.3 kilograms compared to the corded machine, which was 9.5 kilograms. They both have the same dual energy of 12.5 joules of pneumatic energy. And they both drill up to 45 mil.
In fact, the gearbox between the two is identical. It's literally, this is the 8 kilo hammer with the bi-turbo motor in place instead of the corded motor.
That's right, yeah. The advantage from a technical perspective is the fact that obviously the 18-volt machine is more modern and has all the UI features, so the interface, the connectivity, and that kickback control, whereas the mains machine doesn't have those features. No. So it's a little bit lacking on that, being an older model, but raw performance, you'll see in a minute, they're toe-to-toe. So let's run that video, Ollie.
Go!
No, we were both really going for it there, but you just pipped me. The reason for that is on the corded version, you can't deactivate soft start. Sneakily, Chris got into the Toolbox app and turned the soft start off.
Nah, I never use it. I'm that precise. Yeah. I use the variable speed trigger.
Finish wasn't required, but either way, he cheated. However, I reckon if we both had soft start enabled, toe to toe, absolutely spot on with each other.
But that's the point. You see, you've got that extra functionality to switch that on and off. So if you're wanting to run big diameter holes, you feel rest assured. With the bi-turbo and the Procore system, you have the confidence to basically do away with your corded machines and replace them or buy into the system and not worry about whether or not the machine's going to have enough power. Look at the GCM, the 12-inch sliding miter saw. That is literally the equivalent of the mains version machine. Essentially, it's very similar. It's basically the same kind of machine. We've just converted it to an 18-volt platform. Well, only an 18-volt. The bi-turbo 18-volt platform with the battery. It performs the same.
That's a performance equivalent of 2,000 watts out of that machine, due to the way that it's designed and that narrow curved blade as well. So it performs exactly the same as the 2,000 watt corded equivalent.
All right. So if you're on the fence on whether or not the Procore and bi-turbo system has enough power to replace your corded machines, you can get off it. If you really want us to do examples, we are happy, more than happy, to do demonstrations, send videos, pop them on YouTube, or maybe we'll talk about them on the live streams. If you want to see any equivalent comparison between any of our corded machines and our cordless bi-turbo equivalents, we're more than confident to do it. We've used them for more than 4 years, in fact, since we launched the bi-turbo range back in 2019. But it's that longer. Yeah. They are amazing machines, and they really don't have to be worrying about whether or not they've got the beans. They really do.
I'll per se, from personal experience with using these power tools for such a long time now, I'll stand by what they say about them 100%. They are absolutely...
Let's say this. When was the last time you picked up a corded machine?
I haven't. Not for the last 3 years anyway.
Yeah, so, you know, we're really... The cordless revolution is well and truly here.
That's it.
Okay, so... enough about the comparisons. Let's quickly finish off by looking at the last few machines that we've got in the bi-turbo range. Let's look at one that's not that old, but really important. This year, dust management was a key focus for us, and part of that was the fact that we finally brought out a M-class dust extractor that was cordless. So what you're looking at here is the GAS 18V-12 MC.
Yep, fantastic little piece of kit this. Really compact, 18 volt. Loads of power. Of course, it has to have that power for the M-Class.
So M-Class is what we would recommend, or say recommend, that is in the UK at least. And if you're watching internationally, you want to check you'll need to check your local regulations when it comes to dust and particulate management. But in the UK, typically speaking, M-Class is the minimum that you want when dealing with wood and silica-based material. Pretty much the only thing in the UK that is okay to use an L-Class for, like our normal 18-volt L-Class vac, the
10L,
yeah,
yes.
10L. That's going to be things like drywall gypsum, for example. Pretty much everything else, if you're working in significant quantities of it, you're going to have to use an M-Class. We've got an excellent range of M-Class mains power dust extractors, and H-Class actually. And if you want to look at those, feel free to watch one of the dust management or dust solution videos. I think that was my one.
I think here's your first one.
That's right. Where we go through the entire dust extraction range. However, when you want an 18-volt system, as Danny pointed out, you need to be running the Procore 18-volt bi-turbo machine to get that M-Class certification. There's a number of things that are necessary for that M-Class. Obviously, the filter matters. The sealing of the dust extractor matters too. The disposal of that dust needs to be of a certain type in order to minimize leakage.
Yep.
But then the most important thing is that flow rate, isn't it, Dan?
Yep, the flow rate has to be of a certain literage per minute. And to assist with that as well, we also have a filter cleaning mechanism in there as well, which is crucially important to obviously keeping the filter nice and clean, the air flowing to maintain that.
And that is why it had to be a bi-turbo brushless machine, to maintain that minimum of 20 litres or meters per second. If it goes below that for a prolonged period of time, then it cannot get that M-class certification, because it's not pulling enough air and dust out of the environment to be safe enough for you to use. Okay, right, when it comes to the machine, right, okay, it's bi-turbo brushes, of course. The what should we say, obviously the name says 12. That's the gross bucket volume, which is 12 litres. When working in dry material, you've got a capacity of 8 litres, and this is actually a wet and dry machine, which means that the overhead's working. It's back. It's alive. The bucket capacity of this machine is 6 litres.
6 litres, yeah.
Right, so wet and dry. Obviously, a pro tip: if you have been using this in dusty applications and then you want to use it for wet, we advise you clean the filter first.
To be fair, I think I'd probably get a second filter. One for wet use and one for dry use.
Because otherwise, once you've used the filter and it's got wet, you should leave it for 24 hours before you start using it for dust.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll make cement.
If you leave any cement dust in there, despite the fact, however hard you wash it, and you've got to be careful with these filters as well when you do clean them, you will create cement and you end up with a solid filter.
Well, you will need to buy another filter.
You will need to buy another filter. So it makes sense to have a second
Exactly,
filter.
yes. Okay, so when it comes to some of the specs, maximum flow rate is 30 litres per second, which gives you a nice amount of headroom just in case it starts to get blocked up.
Yep.
When it comes to the maximum volume pressure, it's about 170 millibar. And you'll really notice the difference on the performance on this machine compared to the previous 18-volt one, which, again, that's not a bi-turbo machine, and you'll noticeably feel the additional suction force that you're getting from this machine. Okay, so a far more powerful product. What else can we say? You get a few little accessories, of course. You get your crevice nozzle. Yep. And you get your little brush. You also obviously get your standard push fit adapter with your click and clean attachment. Yep. So the actual hose itself is 28 millimeters. Comes with this angled one as well. There we obviously sell an additional cleaning kit, so you get some extension tubes and the floor cleaning accessories as well, if that's what you'd like. The hose itself, it's blue, so it's anti-static, which is nice. What else can we say before we have to move on to the insides of the machine?
The ability to start it remotely.
Okay, yes.
I don't know.
You probably know this already, but this machine is a connected product, so it has C in it, which means it has some Bluetooth functionality. If I pop it into the automatic mode, you've obviously got the remote here. I can press that.
Runs on a little bit.
Very hard to talk over, I suppose, while doing that. Alright, and if I switch it off, I press the button again, then it will do that 6-second after run, clear the hose out.
Clear the hose out,
yeah. So, works via remote, so you can press the button to activate it, but you can also attach this to your tool. It uses the vibration, and the vibration activates the sensor, switches the machine on as well, so you don't have to worry about pressing the button. So that's a nice feature. That's part of the connectivity feature. Really good, obviously, because if you're running a cordless machine, it's a nice have an automatic startup.
Of course, yeah. Okay. The other thing we have on here, as I mentioned, a filter cleaning mechanism on here. There's no specific button for this. It's not an automatic filter cleaning. The mechanism, if you open the battery bay there, see we've got the bi-turbo the Procore battery in there. We'll take a 12 amp as well, so you can get the maximum amount of runtime. But each time you close the hood, that activates the filter cleaning mechanism. The manual recommends 3 times to clean the filter. I'd continue. You can't over clean the filter using the manual filter cleaning mechanism. So if you have any problems with airflow, just keep using the filter cleaner.
Yeah, you'll notice there's a little bit of resistance around here. You can feel it.
Yeah.
So as you push through it, you don't actually have to close the lid. To be honest, sometimes you can just that. Okay, and then you can use that to clean the filter. Once you feel like you've done enough, depending on what kind of material you've been working with, then you can start. I mean, there's other options. You can obviously take out the filter and manually clean that, but then we don't obviously recommend you use PPE for that.
100%.
This will just get you out of a jam. If you're in the middle of an application and the flow rate alarm is going off, that's one of the first things you'll check. Just use that to knock some of the dust out of the filter.
Mm.
The sensor, if the alarm's going off quite a lot, it might be worth emptying the dust out of the machine if you're going to do a lot more work. And the other option is make sure you fit the bag correctly. If you want to see more about this machine, feel free to check out the video where we showed you when we launched it. Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but maybe we'll put a little link in the video. And you can have a look at that in a bit more detail, where Danny specifically shows you the best technique on fitting the bag.
Yep.
Before we finish though, I guess as we open that, maybe you can have a...
Yep.
I'll hold the bottom. You've obviously got some additional features, such as these anti-static
There you
rods.
go. So the anti-static rods in the side here. I don't know whether you can see them, maybe on the overhead as well.
Let's try the overhead.
There you go. So these anti-static rods that sit around the outside here, what they do is they break up the airflow around, because this has a cyclone action in the bucket. They break up the airflow that prevents the build-up of static electricity.
Yeah.
So you don't get any shocks off of this machine. The anti-static hose goes alongside that to make this machine a lot more comfortable to use. Changing the filters, dead simple, just twist the filter and off it comes. And inside you'll see there's the float in here for the wet vac system. So that'll block the airflow to the motor once the float reaches the top. So
yeah, so as opposed to some of our mains machines which have an auto cutoff, this one doesn't have one. It's a much more simplified system, but you'll know when that's full, because well, the alarm will probably go off as well.
exactly. Yeah.
So a nice little, and that's the whole point here. We've been asked a lot of questions about, are we going to make a more powerful one? Actually, the agenda here was to make a really nice compact, portable, because that's the whole point here, portable but powerful M-class vac for those small applications. If I'm being honest with you, if you really, really need a dust extractor to do a lot more work for you, that is why we're going to maintain and in fact improve upon our corded range of dust extractors, because look, dust extractors use a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And obviously the volume, this is a quite much smaller volume compared to say the 35 litre or the 55 litre machines we have. Remember, this is 8 litres in for dry use. Then we'd always recommend you move up to a corded machine for workshop use or heavy site work.
Once you've had the 55 around the workshop for any length of time, you'll be shocked that you actually live without it.
I don't know when the last time I emptied the 55. I don't think I've ever emptied it.
It's on wheels, so I don't know how much it weighs.
So yeah, really great option if you need the portables, and that's the whole point again with the BITURBO range.
Yeah.
This is now means that you are site safe with your M-class filter.
Exactly.
Cool. Right.
Yeah. Usually we'd fit a bag in it before we put the top back on, but for now, there you go.
Wow. Oh mate, too many products. There are too many products to talk about. I don't know who we've got left, but Ella, have we got any questions, or have we put them to sleep?
No questions yet.
Yeah, we put them to sleep.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So not many more tools left, so let's really rush through it and then finish off for tonight.
Yes.
So next BITURBO machine that we've got in the range is a unique one currently. There's only one in the range. However, maybe there'll be some alternatives coming out, but for the time being, we've got this machine down. Grab it.
Yes,
Grab
I
it
have.
for us.
It's just here. The GNB 18V-38. So this is our concrete nailer, obviously BITURBO.
Right, so the name indicates
38 millimeter maximum length nails.
Okay. What can we say about it?
Puts nails in concrete.
It really does. But it doesn't just put nails in concrete.
not just nails in concrete.
That's right, yes. Okay, so the machine itself weighs about 4 kilos, just over 4 kilos with our battery. It's not too bad. I mean, it's got some weight to it, which is fine. You kind of need a bit of weight to counteract the recoil when you are using this machine in application. Okay, this is primarily going to be used for putting, attaching metal to concrete, such as your track for drywall, for example, room partitionings and things.
And wooden battening as well.
That's right, yes. The system's very simple. You've got obviously your safety on the top here, so you can have it in safe and then in normal. Oh, that's your safe, sorry. And then that's in your normal mode. You have a on and off button on the back here, so I can switch it on very quickly to show you. Okay. Oh, that's on and indicating that battery is very low, but it's okay. We're not going to be using it today. Okay, now you've got, I'll switch that off for the time being. Okay, the ability to release the magazine. I'll do this on camera. Okay, slides out. Okay, the magazine, put it down. The magazine will fit nails of a diameter of 2.7 to 3 millimeters,
and
with a length of 13 to 38.
Yep, and it carries 22 nails.
How many?
22.
22 nails, right? Okay. The machine, the magazine or the machine has a auto or dry fire prevention mode, so it won't fire once the nails are depleted. In fact, it'll probably leave about 3 nails in there before that kicks in, so then you can feed in another lot. They're fed in through the bottom here, and then the follower, so you can feed them in through the bottom, then you can release the follower. Okay.
That's it.
Okay, you've got two, when it comes to depth adjustments, you've only got 2 modes here. You've got in, and then you've got slightly less in.
Yes.
Okay. That's depending on the type of fitment you're doing. The important note here is you actually don't want to have the nails flush. That is a misconception when using a concrete nailer. You want to have a little bit of space. And actually you'll see when we get the nails out that the actual collation, the plastic collations serve as a kind of washer.
Yeah.
Have a little bit of space. You don't want it, you don't want that to be completely destroyed and removed, because that's actually part of the fixing process.
Exactly.
When it comes to the nose cone, just take the battery out just for some safety. It's not necessary, to be honest, because it will not fire.
You can't take the nose cone out without taking the magazine out.
That is correct, yeah, thank you. It's gonna...
Gone a full commando now.
Yeah, there you go. Right, so if you have any problems, you can, there you go.
Right,
You
I've
can
got
remove that, and you can then use
the high-tech solution of a prodding rod. There you go.
nice action. You've done that before.
I've done that before. That allows you to clear off any nails that you may have stuck in the nose of the machine as well. There's also a reset mechanism built into this machine as well. We're actually going to be doing a video at some point in the future, sooner rather than later, which will explain how to clear blockages and also reset the machine as well. But of course, if you have one of these, it's all in the user manual.
That's right. And then last little points, it's got a nice little foot here that helps you balance it. You need to depress the nose. When you fire the nail, it will not fire unless the nose is depressed, and obviously you have to have nails in there, otherwise it will not do anything.
Exactly.
Whew, that was lucky.
Yeah, no, I was watching. I made sure you had no nails in it. Ruined my lovely desk.
Okay, so when it comes to nails, we've got quite a range. We're not going to show all of them, but we will give you a bit of a taste. There are 3 different varieties.
Yes, we have the straight nails here. There you go.
Yeah, so overhead.
Where's the good place? There you go. It's working.
There we go.
There you go.
Oh, they look so small and diminutive.
They do. So these are the longest nails. These are 38mm nails. These are for fixing metal to concrete. So your metal drywall tracking into a concrete floor.
That's right. You're looking from NB, we call them. The nails are NBs. From 16, 19, 25, 32 and 38. Let's go to these ones.
There you go. We've got a couple of different lengths.
Oh, yes,
there.
that's right. Yes.
Collation's exactly the same. Just the length of the nails is different. Obviously, depending on the depth of the substrate or the hold that you need onto the material you're attaching, you can pick the perfect length of nail that you require.
Right, that's right. So these are the ones with the kind of blue colour here. If I go to the next ones, which are black in colour.
Yes, but what, Chris, if I want to attach a metal track to maybe an RSJ or a steel beam?
That's right. So you're looking for metal to metal, steel nails.
Yes, so I've got a couple of different lengths of nail there as well. You'll find these on the black collation there, so slightly shorter, but they these ones will penetrate through the steel trunking that we use for the drywall, the tracking, and into steel. So
perfect for that.
Great.
Okay, and then the last choice of nail that we've got currently in the range, we call them knurled nails.
Yep.
Yeah, Danny's got them there.
There you go.
Okay, so these are designed for fixing wood to concrete.
Yeah, you'll see there's a slight twist on the nail there, which gives it extra purchase when it goes through wood into concrete. So these will go into concrete as well, hence the blue collation there.
Yeah, they're only one size currently, your 35mm.
Yeah, I mean, if you're attaching wood, obviously, depending on the size of the piece of wood or the width of the piece of wood, you're obviously going to want the longest nails possible for the larger material.
Right, so one of the great advantages here is this is both ETA and ICC approved. So if you are worried about whether or not these hit regulations for fixings, they've already been certified, both the nails and the machine itself. So don't worry, feel free to be reassured that this is all above board, as you'll expect from us, as you can imagine. Yeah, a little slow to market, yes, always, but we're always making sure that everything has gone through all the red tape, and you can be rest assured that you're getting the real deal here.
All the I's and lowercase j's have been dotted when it comes to legislation.
In addition, the nails themselves are galvanized as well. That's a consideration for you. Okay, so the nailer, really great product. Sneak peek, maybe there's something coming really soon. For all you electricians out there, that's all I'm going to say. Because I'm sure there's any electricians watching this and they're talking, and we know that we're talking about a concrete nailer. I'm sure you actually know what we're talking about.
Yes.
To all those who might not know, maybe you can Google it and find out what we mean. But there's something coming out in the concrete nailer range that's going to help you with that.
Yes.
Right, nearly the last machine. What have you got for me, Dan?
I have, where did I put it? No, that's up here. There you go. We have the GSA 18V-28, our bi-turbo recip saw. Fantastic little machine, this. Obviously, you can see the width of the machine there. It's obviously got quite a large motor in there as well. Fantastic. Comes with a little rafter hook there as well. Pendulum action, so it's two-stage pendulum action, on or off.
Yeah, that's all you need.
And a manually adjustable foot plate on the front there. We've also got an SDS fitment, if you can see it there, for the blade system. You've got a blade there, I think, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got a good example of something really brutal.
So I'm going to attempt this without gloves. Don't try this at home.
We're experts. It's
Yep.
okay. We're experts working with expert blades. Yeah.
There you go. So simply push it in, the little ring retracts, and that's your blade in. To remove it, try doing it. Can you hold the machine a sec? Twist it, and out it pops.
That's right. In fact, it's got a little spring in there. That
It does, yeah.
Well, in more ideal conditions, that will shoot out. It will allow the blade to fall out without you having to touch it, which is really good if that blade has got hot.
I tried not to because I've
We'll
seen
have
that
to
happen many
go
times.
and find it again. Okay, so the machine itself, so it's 28, so that is a 28mm stroke length. The maximum cutting capacity of this is 230mm when working in wood. And if you're working in metal, because remember, don't forget, this is not just for wood, depending on the blade. You can get some really excellent expert blades to allow you to cut metal. That will give you up to a maximum depth of cut of 150mm in profile and all that kind of stuff. So really great machine, 2,900 strokes per minute. Now the vibration on this is a bit higher than some of our other machines, but it's because of the raw power. So you're running at about 23 meters per second. So it is a powerful machine, but the best advantage here is because it's powerful, you're actually going to spend a lot less time in material, so that vibration doesn't necessarily have to add up. Yeah. Which from expert blades you can cut that time down as well. Yeah,
especially when you pair it with something like this, or even when you come into the metal you were talking about, the thick, tough metal blade. Outstanding blade for cutting through material, really is.
Okay, so bi-turbo recip saw. I can't say much more about that apart from if you want even more power compared to our standard 18 volt, then this will be the choice for you. Last leg, it's the final lap.
It is.
Right, so let's look at the last bi-turbo brushless machines that we've got in the range. Again, these are a little bit too big for us to bring into the office. And more importantly, why would we? Because these are our outdoor goods machines. So our lawn and garden products. So let's roll the video. Okay, so now we're looking at the professional 18 volt range of lawn and garden machines. However, obviously we have a much wider range than the two machines here. However, as this is the bi-turbo special, we're looking specifically at our bi-turbo brushless 18 volt lawn and garden machines. We're going to start off first with the GBL 18V-750.
So this is our professional leaf blower. We're talking some big specs when it comes to this machine. 198 kilometers per hour airspeed from the tip of the nozzle here, powered by an axial fan drawing air in at the rear and straight out the front, so no awkward angles, no slowing that air down. We're talking about volume of air as well, so 780 cubic meters per hour. So really shifting a lot of air at an incredibly high speed here. The weight of the machine's 2.8 kilos without a battery. The weight of the battery, a double stack Procore, is around about 1 kilo. So we're talking about 3.8 kilos in total. A really manageable working weight. So this is something that you can carry around all day, every day without a problem.
So as Dan's pointed out, obviously this is a bi-turbo machine running the Procore battery, and because of the balance of the machine with the Procore battery on the back, you'll see it's oriented perfectly for your typical application angle.
Nicely balanced.
Yeah, absolutely. On the top here, we've got a variable speed wheel. Okay, so you can dial the power up and down. Actually, I'll be honest with you don't need to run this machine at maximum spec all the time. It's more than capable at moving a large volume of leaves on much lower settings. However, if you do need that maximum power, then you can crank it up. And then lastly, you can see here, it's got a straightforward trigger to activate the machine. You'll also notice that the accessory here is a simple bayonet mount, which means you can just simply twist and take it off so you can store it together and save a bit of space.
Yeah, if space is at a minimum for you, this is the one for you.
So what you got here again with the GBL 18V-750 is an excellent, compact and still lightweight machine running on the bi-turbo brushless platform, Procore, loads of power, more than enough for your typical applications. Let's move on to the next machine. So what you can see here is the GRA 18V2-46.
So obviously this is our professional lawnmower. Obviously it's bearing the moniker of BITURBO brushless. So this again falls into the BITURBO brushless category.
That's right, so you're looking at a 46cm blade, and this particular machine runs on 2 of our Procore 18V batteries for maximum performance. The machine features 6 different heights of cut, from 30cm all the way up to 70cm.
So really easy to adjust that as well, takes a lot of the weight out of the machine. The body of the machine is actually made from pressed steel, which is powder coated for longevity, as well as quite lightweight as well.
That's right. When it comes to the grass bag, it's 60 litres, and actually the system in this machine is really efficient when it comes to filling that bag. You're not going to have to worry about only half the bag being filled. This machine will fill it completely full.
In fact, it actually fills from the back of the bag, so we're quite proud of this design when it comes to our mower.
That's right. And in addition, as it's a completely fabric bag, when you are packing this machine down, that packs up nice and easily and quickly.
And you'll notice from the handles, we have a bifolding handle, meaning you can pack this almost completely within the size of the mower deck itself, but also you can store it vertically as well. So the handle will clip in flat over the machine and you can sit it up on its back wheels. The handle back here, ergonomic handle, we have the raised section at the back here. This is actually height adjustable to 2 settings as well, but we have the industry or professional standard bail bar system when it comes to activation of the mower. Simple button on the side there, pull the lever to start the machine.
So in addition to the 2-stage safety on the handle, this machine also comes with an isolation key, so you can deactivate the machine for additional safety. That's right. And as you heard at the beginning there, the machine itself isn't actually particularly that loud. It's also got a nice little motor brake to stop that blade nice and quickly as well. And finally, we also include a mulching plug with this machine. So if you care about the health of your lawn, this machine can help with that as well.
So these are our 2 current BITURBO products in our Lawn and Garden Professional range. However, there may be a few more coming soon. As of the time of this recording, we have a sneaky peek at another BITURBO machine that's coming to the Professional Lawn and Garden range. And there you go.
So what we got here is the GKE 18V-40 professional chainsaw.
The 40 refers to a 40cm bar length. So insane amount of power going through a really useful bar length.
That's right, you're looking at a maximum cut length of 36cm, and it's giving you a blade speed of 12.4 meters per second.
Yeah, as you'd expect with any professional chainsaw, we have a fully manual electronic motor brake on this machine as well. So in the event of a kickback, works exactly the same as a gas-powered chainsaw.
That's right, and it stops very rapidly at 0.12 seconds. Okay, so you can see here from the battery bay, it's got plenty of room for a double layer Procore battery, but even space for a triple layer Procore 18V battery, such as a 12 amp hour. And using a 12 amp hour battery will give you up to 180 cuts, which is loads and loads of runtime.
As you'd expect, 2-stage switch, button on the side there, pull the trigger and away you go.
This machine also features Bosch OptiCut technology that helps regulate torque and speed. So when you're working extremely difficult applications, this machine will regulate that to make sure the blade doesn't stall.
Now the other change we've made is on the side here with the blade tightening and adjusting mechanism. Now on our DIY range of chainsaws, you'll find there's a single, almost a knob on the side here, which allows you to adjust the chain tension and then lock the blade away. Now, for a professional, this is no good because it sticks out too far and it limits the width of which you can cut with the chainsaw. So we've done away with that. We've gone back to the industry standard when it comes to professional chainsaws and just gone with a 2-bolt system. Also, we include the screwdriver wrench underneath here to allow you to do all the adjustments on the fly.
That's right, so in summary, a nice, compact, but still very powerful machine. Again, giving you up to 180 cuts on a 12 amp hour battery, and with that OptiCut technology, that means you can cut in extremely difficult conditions. So here it is, GKE 18V-40. Yes, people have been asking for ages for a chainsaw.
Yes.
We already knew it was coming, of course we did. We knew it was going to be a BITURBO brushless machine. It has to be, in order to give you that performance and capability that you'd expect from a professional chainsaw. We already mentioned all of those features in the video. I think that pretty much sums it all up. The OptiCut system on this is really, really good.
Yes.
Capacity for a 12 amp hour battery, or again, run the Procore 18V Plus battery, give a bit more performance. We don't actually have statistics on this yet. This particular model we got here is one of the marketing samples that we've got. Now, we haven't actually had a chance to properly play with this ourselves.
No, we haven't.
But trust me, in the next couple of... Well, we know it's coming out. In the next few weeks or maybe month, we're going to have ample chance to test this. But cutting capacity, it's really, really great. 30, I think it's 30, well, it's got, you can see it's bar of 40, obviously, cutting capacity of 36 centimeters, so loads of cutting capacity.
I seem to remember when they were developing this, they would fit a longer bar on it to load it up, but yeah, manage with a much longer bar quite capably.
That's right, yes. So rest assured.
Buckets of power.
Yeah, exactly. So rest assured, once this machine gets a little closer to launch, we'll talk about it in a little bit more detail. In fact, actually, one of the next live streams, probably in 2 live streams time, we're going to be talking about the products that are going to be launching in September.
Yep.
And I'm sure we'll spend a little bit more time to revisit this. But
that's exciting one, because I'm looking for, there's a few products in there that you've been crying out for a while now.
That's right. Yes. Okay.
Some that you probably won't expect.
Exactly. Yeah, there were other products that we were considering teasing, but I think it's... Well, I think we've spoken enough already, and we did promise to tease a few products. We've teased a few without you. Maybe you might not have even noticed, but we wanted to show this one in person. So,
Marcus said we've lost Danny's voice.
Oh, that's my mic gone. I just have to stand closer to Chris.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that better?
Well, Danny can wander off and go get another mic pack.
Yeah, I'll disappear and get another microphone.
It's fine. It's all about me now. It's all about me. I mean, come on, it's been a long live stream. I'm not surprised that actually our mics have suddenly started to run out of power. But don't worry, as we said, we're coming to a close now anyway. Ella, have we got any more questions before we finish up?
Yep, the first question was from PF Cutters, and he was wondering how long the blade is on the chainsaw. He says 16-inch ?
Oh, I don't know what it is in old money, but as I said, have I got the chain length? Let me see if I can find out what the chain length is. See if I've got it in here. No, I haven't got it to hand. As I said, we haven't disassembled this marketing sample yet, and I'll have a look at the spec sheets in the instruction manual that we've got. We've got the preliminary instruction manual, so I'll probably pop it in the chat there. I think we mentioned obviously that this is an Oregon 90PX chain. I'm not familiar with how Oregon named this, so maybe that's a 90 centimeter chain off the back of that. That's my guess. Looking at it. Yeah, probably about that. Hopefully that answers your question. Ella, any other questions?
Yep, the next question is, are you planning to bring out a second generation of your BITURBO GSB 18V 150C?
A second generation? Not yet. As I said, the 150 Combi and drill driver, still very, very relevant. There might be, there possibly is going to be some incremental changes or a slight modification, a slightly new model. I think performance-wise, I think it's still going to be 150 Newton meters. Again, you're going to have to find me some kinds of applications where you need more power than that out of a Combi. I think 150 Newton meters is loads of power. So let us know what kind of applications you think the 150 is lacking in. And I'll see what I can do, to be honest. But as I said, there might be a slight update to the 150, but not a radical performance difference.
I think I might be back, but I'm not entirely sure. Yes.
Yeah, the chat can let us know if they can hear Danny, but I'm just going to carry on with my monologue.
Yes. I'll just left to lean in.
Okay, so any other questions, Ella?
The next question is, I know you guys talk about it, but the GWS 18V 180p needs an X-Lock Max version.
It would really be nice, yes. There'd be a definite advantage to that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're working on it. There'll be a lot of red tape to try and get something like that through. Higher tolerance is needed for larger accessories.
Yeah, higher perimeter speeds, things like that, yeah.
There's no guarantee, of course,
no.
but trust me, the Bosch boffins are working on it.
Next question is, any update on an 18V paddle mixer?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, there is. You have to wait.
Yes.
Stay tuned. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe Danny and I are going to Germany, going to Leinfelden to maybe do some videos. Can't tell you what it's about. Yeah. Maybe it's a paddle mixer.
Maybe next week. I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe those products might end up in a future BITURBO live stream. Who knows?
Next question. When will the GKS 18V 57.2 GX be available in the UK?
Well then you only have to wait a little while. I think it's okay to say that that machine because you already know what it is.
Yep.
That machine is coming in the next launch cycle, so we'll be doing a live stream on it in September, but it'll actually be available before we do that live stream.
Is there any chance that we'll get an updated 12-volt impact driver?
Unfortunately not.
I haven't had any. I know you're a man in the know at the moment, but I haven't heard anything now.
No, there are a number of 12-volt machines coming that you've seen that you know of. I'm not keeping it all secret.
Yeah.
So there are a big range of 12-volt machines coming, but a driver is not one of them.
No.
Next question. We need biturbo right angle drills in sizes 3 to 8 inch, ½ inch, 3/4 inch for electricians. When are those coming out?
The wrenches. By turbo though.
Yeah, not by turbo.
No, I don't. Do we need? I don't. Well, yeah. We know that we are working on right angle drivers.
Yep.
Drivers. I don't think they need. Well, not by turbo. We're not looking for that high performance. Not yet, anyway. Maybe once we've launched standard 18-volt.
Yes.
Right angles.
Yep.
Maybe if the market demands it, we could come out with more high powered ones. But I've not seen any plans for that yet.
No, not yet.
PF Cutter said, you said there's going to be updates to your concrete nailer. When would we get these?
Ooh, we may be, when we're maybe going to Germany, maybe we'll be recording something.
But I think the answer he's looking for is when is it going to launch? That's going to be, you'll be looking at next year.
Yeah.
You won't be looking at this year for that. And you'll see that it's more of a, well, no, it's not just a machine.
No.
Trust me, there's a complete system around that.
Yes.
I'll say at some point early next year, fingers crossed.
Last 2 questions. Someone said, I want a portable Bosch Pro 18-volt brushless biturbo tire inflator, please.
Yeah, we've got a very, very competent tire inflator in our DIY range.
Yep,
Really good,
we've got an
actually.
18-volt one, which is very fast at inflating car tyres. Or if time's not as precious to you, then the little 3.6 volt easy inflate is absolutely fantastic. Takes up virtually no space in your boot as well.
The 3.6 volt one is great. I use it for my bike, mountain bike, even my car. Perfectly capable for all of that. The 18 volt is excellent. I would like a pro version. I absolutely would like one. As I said, I've heard inklings that we might be dipping into some more of these kind of utility
lifestyle kind
machines
of products,
with the pro stuff. A lot of that, is around the fact that we're bringing out a lot more lawn and garden machines as well. We know lots of competitors make non-power tool system tools. And let me just say very briefly that there's a lot of attention internally to look at making like similar products as well. So fingers crossed that something like that will come to the pro range.
Yeah, I know there's definitely call for an inflator with a longer hose for testing pressure vessels in boilers. And of course, we've got Worcester Bosch is part of the Bosch group. It stands to reason that there'll be people on the case about that, definitely. Even if it's not for car tyres, it'll still be a Schrader valve, so it's exactly the same. Yeah.
And the last question for today is, any more dual battery machines coming for higher power draw applications?
I'll have to defer to you on this one. Cause...
I don't want to spend too much time because it's too late in the day. Obviously, we are trying with the biturbo brushless range to maintain that flexibility in having a single battery platform. Obviously, the whole advantage here is keeping the power to weight ratio good, minimizing the amount of investment you have to do to run these powerful machines. So there's a careful calculation. Obviously, with the GRA, the mower, we needed the additional power and performance of having the 2 battery system.
Well, the cutting diameter is 46 centimeters, so you need the power there to cut that width of grass at any one time. So
now there are a number of machines that people have asked about, even in this chat itself, that I would love to see, and they would probably have to run on a dual battery system just because of the physics involved, the energy requirements. I can tell you, and I can tell you later in more detail, that there are a couple of machines that may be coming to market that will utilize that dual battery system. But it's a bit early days currently. As you'll see, it's not required for a lot of machines. Look, the chainsaw itself here does not require those 2 batteries. Okay, like many other competitors out there needing to run dual batteries to get power. We're very smart with the electronics in here. But there are some machines that, like the mower, absolutely need it. So waffle long waffle short, stay tuned. There are definitely going to be some interesting machines that are coming that are going to be, again, 2 times 18 volt.
Yeah.
Last question. That was right. Perfect. Wow. What a juggernaut. We kind of knew it was going to be a big one. All specials had to be a massive live stream. I mean, it was, you know, ginormous.
It was.
Hopefully, I'm really surprised that so many people have stayed for the whole live stream. This is going to be one of our core team's last live stream. Okay?
Yes.
So one of our camera operators, Rebecca's moving on to far better things. I'm sure she's going to miss us deeply. I'm sure she's missed.
No, she's saying yes.
Yep,
Definitely.
nodding. It's a horizontal
100%.
nod.
Yes,
I'm sure that still
a nod
counts if you
nonetheless.
tilt your head. So thank you to Rebecca for staying with us.
Yes, thank you.
We also saw Max was in the chat earlier as well.
Yes.
Max has moved on as well to greater pastures. He did some of the question and answers in the past too, so it was nice to see him on that live stream as well.
Yes.
Even though he wasn't here.
No.
So thanks, Max, for all your work. Thank you, Rebecca, as well. It's going to be another live stream in 2 weeks.
Yes, it is.
I'm
Hand
doing holiday.
tools. So yeah, it's me on me. You're stuck with me, I'm afraid. But we're going to cover the hand tool range. That live stream that we scheduled a while back, but due to technical issues, it kind of folded in on itself.
Yeah. We nearly had that trouble. We nearly had that trouble again today, but luckily we got through it.
Yep. So it'll be covering the entire range of the professional hand tools, plus our new VDE range of professional power tools. And we'll have a couple of sneak peeks in there as well. One of which being the new kit that's coming out, which is a really quite nice cased kit with all the VDE products.
She might as well show that. That's right, because that'll be launching then, won't it?
It's over there, but I'm not allowed to talk about it.
But you will be.
I'll
on the
schedule
day,
that for next week.
because that will be launched as of September. Isn't it?
Yes, it will. Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. Hey guys, thank you very much for staying. If you watched all the way through to the end, you deserve an award. Instead, you're just going to get thanks from me
And a thank you from me.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye, guys.